Stick with me here. You and I are diving into an insane world where everyone awakens a magical class at 18. Today was finally my turn. I unlocked the Mage class. Sounds epic, right? Except I got the total blank slate version. Zero elemental affinity whatsoever. No fire powers, no lightning strikes, absolutely nothing. Just the absolute bottom tier class imaginable. My only ability was a completely pathetic, tiny fireball spell. Sitting back in our massive family mansion, I watched the little flame dancing in my palm and said, "You are weak, but whatever. Your job now is warming up my snacks. We will live the ultimate easy life right in this mansion. No fighting giant monsters for us." But then things got super weird. The flame started shaking violently. Crazy messages suddenly flooded my status panel. My own skill was screaming at me, calling me utterly lazy, refusing to be a simple lighter. It roared that it wanted to evolve and become a world-shattering forbidden spell. Before I could even process this, the flame launched out of my hand, blasting right through the open window, leaving an angry red trail. It literally just ran away. My system page updated. Now pay attention. Level 1 fireball actually ran away in a rage. A conscious skill that straight up ditched me. People getting dumped is completely normal, but a magic skill abandoning its master for being too lazy is wild. Mom yelled down for dinner. Our dining room is insanely luxurious. A massive table loaded with extremely expensive dishes. Dad sat right at the head. He is a city defense commander. Thunder were God. Mom sat close beside him, CEO of the biggest potion corporation, Holy High Priestess. Yeah, a wealthy family is a massive deal here. I secretly searched my phone, looking for any clue about runaway abilities or skills gaining full self-awareness. Absolutely nothing. In centuries of people having awakened professions, this had never once happened. Dad noticed my phone distraction, telling me to eat. I made an excuse about researching post-awakening details. My parents exchanged a worried glance. Assuming I was devastated about my garbage tier class, they immediately started comforting me. Mom went totally overboard, saying I could just coast through college life, practice cooking at our 5-star restaurants, or just manage my potion gardens. These mountains belong entirely to us. Raise some pets, take it easy, avoid gambling, and I can fund 10 lifetimes. Honestly, absolute music to my ears. Back in my previous life, I worked until my body completely gave out. Now, I have this glorious second chance inside an incredibly wealthy family. Why bother grinding? I put my chopsticks down and spoke sincerely. Mom, Dad, please do not worry. Starting tomorrow, I will help Mom spend cash and help Dad polish armor. The perfect son, guaranteed. Dad almost choked on his soup, while Mom completely froze. You and I both expected some fighting spirit here, right? Nope. I went straight into absolute moocher mode without hesitating for a single second. After wolfing down my dinner, I sprinted back upstairs to check on my rogue spell, but I overheard them whispering downstairs. Dad was heavily sighing about my utterly hopeless attitude. Mom fired right back, blaming him for swapping my childhood training sword with the soft foam stick. Because he could never bear seeing me struggle, they bickered back and forth, but underneath the teasing, realized they were truly worried. They are powerful but not immortal. With my epic laziness, I would completely fail to protect our massive family fortune. It might actually ruin me. Then Dad suggested having another kid. Mom blushed, calling him completely shameless, though she did not refuse. He scooped her up, bragging about dragon meat boosting his crazy stamina. Meanwhile, I stayed upstairs staring at my empty hand, wondering if my crazy fireball would ever return. Locking my door, crashed onto the bed and checked the system. That fireball icon was still gray. Half an hour had passed, and it had not shown up. Suddenly, crazy system alerts appeared. The spell had traveled way out to the city grasslands, a low-level beginner zone for levels 1 through 3. It spotted a sharp-toothed rabbit, literally mocked the poor thing, then blasted it. 5 experience points immediately rolled in, plus 1 sweet skill proficiency point. My spell was not satisfied, though. It thought fighting such a weak monster totally insulted its glorious dignity. It went charging off, hunting stronger enemies, boldly screaming it wanted to fight 10 at once. I stared at the battle logs. It clicked. The experience was real. What do you and I make of this? My runaway skill was actually leveling me up from miles away. Stick with me. After 18 long years of waiting, my ultimate cheat ability has finally arrived. Others risk absolutely everything battling monsters out in the wild. This world feels exactly like a game, but losing here is permanent. No extra tries, no respawns. But me? I can just chill in bed while experience rains down from the sky. As long as my skill keeps grinding, my level and mastery just keep climbing totally on their own. And the absolute best part, flawless combat control. Mages at identical levels can have wildly different power depending on their aim and predicting enemy movements during fights. That takes crazy talent and experience. But my skill actually had its own brain. It could aim, predict, and battle way better than I ever could. This was not just some cheat. It was a fully automatic, epic grinding hack. I leaned back comfortably and fluffed up my pillow. Sure, the fireball had serious attitude, but seeing how hard it worked, I could forgive it for bouncing without a simple goodbye. I noticed that casting normally drains your mental energy, but my little fireball grinding out there was not costing me a single thing. Another amazing perk of this skill, going solo maybe. Then, a brand new alert suddenly popped up. My fireball got surrounded by a full pack of 15 gray wolves, all level 1. Still, 15 against 1 is highly dangerous for any level 1 fighter. Now watch closely. I frantically shouted at it to run away, but what happened next absolutely blew my mind. The fireball felt no fear at all, only pure excitement. Taking down FOs one at a time was just way too slow and inefficient. So right there in the middle of a massive wolf fight, it began thinking, calculating, and rearranging fire element patterns. It had a massive breakthrough, figuring out the secret of elemental fusing all by itself. A fresh skill popped up, multi-burst fireball. It could instantly split into 10 to 15 fireballs for carpet bombing, packing a huge secondary impact explosion. 15-second cooldown. All 15 wolves were wiped out in just one blast. 75 experience points, a massive mastery boost, and my fireball stood over the defeated wolves, blowing a smoke ring and calling them absolute trash. I sprang up from my bed. This was completely insane. I might not be a top student, but I definitely know the basics. Skills here rank in 6 tiers: basic, elementary, intermediate, advanced, legendary, and the absolute highest, forbidden. Any mage can learn basic skills, but from elementary onward, you cannot just read a skill book and expect to automatically learn it. Multi-burst fireball is an elementary skill involving element splitting and secondary detonation techniques. Even specialized flame mages cannot learn it on their first try, let alone a blank slate mage like me. But my skill just figured it out, totally alone. Not even half a day since awakening, and I had not faced one monster in person. I had never even touched a skill book. My fireball simply got annoyed that defeating targets one by one was slow, so it just evolved on its own. My mind started racing. If this keeps up, what happens when I finally hit level 10 and unlock a second basic skill? If I learn water arrow, will it get frustrated with being weak and grind itself into a tsunami? If I learn earth shield, will it decide it's not tough enough and evolve into absolute defense? You and I both know, if every skill works this incredibly hard, I could easily become an all-element forbidden spell archmage. I might actually reach godhood lying comfortably in bed. Plus, there is a massive career exam in 3 days. Maybe I am about to shock absolutely everyone. One final system message arrived. The fireball thought the grassland monsters were way too weak and was heading straight to the dark forest, a level 3 to 5 zone. It left a note: go to sleep and stop freaking out. Do not disturb my work. Fair enough. If my skill puts in this much crazy effort, the least I can do is stay completely out of its way. The best support I could offer right now was simply avoiding being a complete nuisance. For the sake of my skill's great grinding mission, I yawned and found the perfect sleeping position. I shall now sleep. Hey, oh fireball, good luck out there. If you are not level 3 by morning, I'm going to laugh at you. 2 minutes later, I was out cold. I had zero clue what my parents discussed after dinner. Apparently, Dad's old rival, guy named Zhao Lei, called him very late that night. They had competed their whole lives, and Dad always came out on top. But now, Zhao's son awakened as a flame mage with an S-rank fire affinity, which is absolute genius, talent. Zhao Lei called just to brag about it, and even offered to have his son help me level up, like some kind of charity case. Dad instantly hung up on him. From what I pieced together later, Aaron spent that night worrying about me. The big career exam in 3 days is broadcast live across the entire city. Everyone only gets basic bronze equipment, so it requires pure skill. Dad was afraid Zhao's son would show off while I got completely humiliated in front of everyone. He decided I should fake being sick and skip the exam entirely. So what do we make of this? They'd rather I stay home safe than get laughed at. Let us dive in. They even decided to try for a second, kid. Dad figured if Zhao Lei wanted to compete, fine, they would make a new son. As for me, they planned to shield me from hardship forever. Even if I was completely powerless, I would still remain their absolute, most treasured and useless son. Honestly, that part was incredibly sweet, but also in a truly painful way. But they did not know the truth. I woke up the next morning feeling absolutely amazing. Best sleep of my entire life. I lazily opened my system panel and nearly tumbled right out of bed. Level 3. I went to sleep at level 1 and woke up at level 3 with 25% progress toward level 4. Both Fireball and Multi-Burst Fireball hit level 3 too. In this world, even wealthy geniuses with the full support team barely hit level 3 on day 1. I did all of that literally while I was sleeping. Literally, the Fireball status showed it was currently napping. Its mood said it was totally exhausted. It wanted a midnight snack. It left a battle report: 158 rabbits, 135 wolves, 112 poison spiders, and way more. Its message read, I am utterly exhausted. Get me fire element food to recharge, or I'm going on strike. Honestly, I was not even mad at the serious attitude. Why would I ever argue with my skill when it grinds levels for me? Mom called me for breakfast. I washed up quickly, threw on some casual clothes, and headed downstairs while cheerfully humming a tune. At the table, Mom gave me a truly sad expression. I could easily tell she was struggling to bring up something super difficult, which was probably the exam. She was building the courage to tell me I should totally skip it, but she suddenly paused. Something caught her attention. Mom is a holy high priestess. That class grants her special detection abilities. Now pay attention. She clearly sensed something different and suddenly used an inspection skill on me. I watched the exact moment her face completely froze up. Level 3. Her precious son, who is supposed to be a hopelessly blank slate mage, who she was about to tell to skip the exam, was already level 3 overnight. So much for being a lazy, good-for-nothing second-generation heir. I practically saw the massive question forming inside her head. Did you not say you were going to sit around and just mooch off us? When did you sneak out to grind levels in the middle of the night? Coming down for breakfast. I actually forgot one very important thing. I was level 3 now, and my parents could tell. Dad shot up from his chair. Level 3. You were level 1 going to bed. My brain completely scrambled. I could not exactly tell them my skill ran away and defeated monsters entirely on its own. You and I agree that is insane. No one in history has ever heard of a skill developing its own mind. If word got out, who knows what would happen to me? This was my absolute biggest secret. So, in a fraction of a second, I put on an embarrassed face and spun a clever story. I said I was lying in bed feeling terrible about being a useless blank slate mage. And even though I talked a big game about mooching off them, I was still their son. So, I snuck out after they fell asleep to train. Mom and Dad instantly got red eyes. They were both just so incredibly moved. Their lazy son was not actually lazy. He just pretended not to care so they would not worry, while secretly grinding away all night. As for hitting level 3 so ridiculously fast, they figured I simply hired some high-level fighters to totally carry me for the family. That amount of money is truly nothing. Dad got totally fired up and called his trusted subordinate, Yi Hong Yu. She walked in looking like a legendary action movie warrior, tall, with sharp eyes, wine red hair and a high ponytail, and dark leather armor. She was the youngest elite captain in the City Special Forces division. Dad declared that since I wanted to train, I should do it right, with Yi Hong Yu guarding me, instead of sneaking around totally alone. I quickly realized I had zero choice but to play along completely. If I stayed home lounging around, the sentient fireball would keep hunting things anyway. Then I would have no realistic way to explain why I kept leveling up while lying on the family couch. Fine. Going outside to train really just meant finding a different spot to lie down. The fireball did all the heavy lifting without draining my energy. Anyway, then I remembered my fireball sending a message demanding fire element food. I asked Mom if we had anything rich in fire energy, like flame fruits or blaze beefsteaks. Mom lit up. She assumed I was trying to compensate for my poor fire affinity through a strict diet. Basically useless compared to real talent, but she loved the solid effort. She immediately ordered the family butler to bring out a crate of lava heartfruits and some freshly delivered flame rhino tenderloin. 10 minutes later, the table was covered in magical food worth way more than what a normal family earns in 1 year. Even Yi Hongyu nearby could not help glancing over. I popped a lava heartfruit into my mouth. A wave of heat rushed through my whole body. Instantly, the fireball icon on my system panel went absolutely wild. It was ecstatic, like drinking ice-cold soda on a hot, scorching day. It started screaming about feeling invincible and demanded to burn everything. I calmed it down, saying we needed ground rules. Trust me, you will love what happens next. Stick with me, we're jumping into a wild one. First, stay within 500 meters outside. It grumbled, but agreed for food. Second, stop being so obvious. Normal fireballs just launch, hit their target, and vanish. But mine, hovering in the sky like an autonomous drone hunting its next target. Yeah, that is totally not normal. I told it to vanish after hitting, acting like a basic spell. Well, the fireball threw a tantrum, claiming it was born to be a forbidden technique. It absolutely refused to sneak around like some coward. Time for my ultimate trump card. Waving a sizzling piece of flame rhino steak right in front of my face, I laid down the law. Behave yourself, or I swear I'm eating nothing but plain, boring porridge forever. Zero fire energy for you. Suddenly, silence. The skill icon flickered back and forth. A truly legendary internal struggle between pure pride and extreme hunger. Hunger took the win. It agreed, but heavily insisted this definitely was not cowardice. Just a tactical retreat for future massive destruction. Yeah, sure. Whatever helps you sleep at night, buddy. I promised that if it played nice, I would eventually feed it legendary red dragon heart meat as a snack someday. Bam! Its rage meter completely zeroed out in a single second. Status upgraded to thrilled. Wiping my mouth after the meal, I told Yi Hongyu we were heading straight into the dark forest, a level 3 to 5 zone. Mom instantly panicked. That place was packed with wolves and toxic spiders, and here I was, a totally fragile mage with zero actual combat experience. But Dad just waved it off, pointing directly at Yi Hongyu. She swore that as long as she breathed, absolutely nothing would scratch me. Dad's face turned dead serious, handing down her absolute final order. Now watch closely. Pure military commander mode. If any wild danger pops up, human or monster, wipe it out instantly. No need to report back. A heavy chill swept through the room. I quickly broke the tense mood by heading straight for the front door. See you tonight, guys. I want stir-fried red dragon for dinner. Inside my panel, the fireball was literally drooling over that menu. Status updated. Thrilled and starving. Damage bonus up 100%. Mom happily called out that she would start prepping right away. A sleek black military SUV finally dropped us off right at the dark forest entrance. Yi Hongyu hopped out first, quickly scanning for threats before opening my door. I stepped out, giving a big stretch. Endless fog choked the woods. An icy wind howled through the trees, while beast roars echoed heavily from deep within. Instantly, my fireball started cackling like an absolute cartoon villain. Dark forest, I am back. Tremble, monsters, and bow down. I told it to chill out. You are a skill, not the final boss. Walking inside, Yi Hongyu broke down her battle plan. She refused to party up, knowing it would split and totally ruin my experience gains. Instead, she would pull targets, beat them to their absolute limit, and let me snag the final hit for maximum points. She halted right at Shadow Wolf territory. These level 3 wolves were famous for insane speed and agility, making them incredibly tough targets. She recommended skipping them entirely for Ironhide boars, since those sluggish beasts were way better for a beginner's target practice. She figured my rookie mage aim could never actually hit a lightning-fast wolf, even if she left the thing barely moving. I just shrugged, telling her to go for it. My aim? Totally confident. She just gave me a super puzzled look. You and I know what's up. But she wondered where this confidence came from. Even S-rank rookies miss Shadow Wolves. She likely thought I was just totally naive about fast monsters and in way over my head. But me? Not worried even slightly. My fireball had literally been hunting in this exact forest all night long. I fully knew its crazy potential. Reluctantly agreeing to give it a shot, she gripped her daggers, ready to rescue me if I missed. Right on cue, dark blur exploded directly from the thick bushes. A level 3 shadow wolf lunging right for us. But Yihong-Yu reacted way faster than I could even blink. She intercepted it mid-air, slashing its front legs and belly, before delivering an absolutely perfect sidekick to its ribs. The wolf smashed into the dirt, heavily damaged, but breathing. Now, young master, I mentally sent the command. Go get him, oh fireball. Flames erupted straight from my palm, rocketing toward the beast. But that wolf, even battered, safely rolled aside last second, using its innate skill. Shadow flicker. The fireball completely sailed past it. Yihong-Yu's heart instantly dropped. She thought it was game over. A rookie mage's fireball only travels completely straight. A miss is a guaranteed miss. She was already dashing forward to finish the job herself. Then, she completely froze. That missed fireball suddenly halted right in midair. Then it aggressively whipped around in a sharp U-turn, rocketing right back at the confused wolf. This fireball was absolutely furious. Someone dared to dodge. The returning flame slammed directly into the wolf with terrifying, pinpoint accuracy. Boom! The wolf exploded. 20 experience points gained. And exactly as commanded, that fireball vanished instantly, right after securing the victory. Perfect. It kept its word. But Yihong-Yu was just standing, eyes completely wide open, staring blankly where those flames were fading. We both practically heard her brain completely short-circuiting. Come on, let's dive into this. She just saw his fireball curve mid-flight. That is an insane move called second stage mental guidance. It takes absolute perfection and wild control over spiritual energy. Even veteran mages struggle with this trick. But she just watched a rookie who awakened yesterday totally nail it on his very first attempt. Yihong-Yu stared after that first wolf takedown. I was just standing there, hands in pockets, completely chilling. Her mind was blown. A total beginner from yesterday, casually pulling off a mid-air fireball curve. Like it was an everyday stroll. Meanwhile, my fireball was basically rolling its eyes inside my head. It thought bending one tiny corner was barely even worth mentioning. It bragged that a full zigzag trick shot ending with the cute heart shape would probably make this poor woman pass out completely. I told it to chill. Yihong-Yu suggested a new strategy. Since my aim was flawless, she'd run deep inside, round up monsters, wear them down to 0 energy, and toss them my way to finish. Maximum efficiency. Perfect. I wouldn't even have to move. She dashed away, and I scouted around for a cozy spot. I found a great crooked tree, sat down, grabbed my phone, and booted up a mobile game. Surprisingly, the forest had signal. The fireball was hyping up, craving action. But I said, wait. Yihong-Yu brought the heat. Minutes later, she zoomed back, launching a completely exhausted shadow wolf through the air directly at me. Young master, incoming. I didn't even glance up. I was busy carrying a massive team fight on my phone. Go down. Clumsy marksman, stop throwing. The fireball handled everything. One flawless strike on the flying wolf. Instant takedown. 20 experience points. Yihong-Yu landed nearby, totally praising my incredible aim. Then she realized I was gaming and hadn't even looked up. Pure shock. She decided to test me. Next wolf. She launched it sky high instead of straight forward. I was scolding my digital support while the fireball rocketed up, blasting the falling wolf perfectly. Now pay attention here. She launched a poison spider from my absolute blind spot. I yelled, someone is flanking. She couldn't even tell if I meant the game or real life. The fireball zipped sideways, pulled an impossible sharp turn around the trunk, and wrecked the spider. I never even looked back. Over the next 30 minutes, she kept tossing monsters my way from literally every angle. Behind, above, around tight corners. The fireball intercepted every target before they hit the ground, and my eyes never left that phone screen. She honestly thought I was a prodigy who mastered mind's eye perception, sensing absolutely everything through spiritual awareness and air currents without ever looking. She figured defeating those monsters was so effortless for me that a simple mobile game was literally providing more of a challenge. She kept muttering things about the apple not falling far from the tree. You guys know the truth, right? I wasn't doing any epic multitasking at all. The fireball was handling everything alone. I was genuinely just gaming. By sunset, I hit a solid level 5. Both me and my fireball. I also won 5 ranked matches straight. Best day ever. Yi Hong-yu emerged exhausted. Even as an elite fighter, wearing monsters all day totally drained her. She congratulated me. Hitting level 5 on day 2 was wildly fast. I said it was thanks to her amazing monster luring, which was true. Honestly, she made the fireball's job a breeze. She mentioned my dad. Sent a quick message. He scored me a random wilderness dungeon scroll. Dungeons drop way more experience than basic hunting. We'd head home first, grab it, and eat dinner. The fireball went absolutely wild inside my skill panel just hearing about dinner. It was drooling for stir-fried red dragon meat. We drove home. Yi Hong-yu respectfully glanced at me. She truly believed she had just witnessed a once-in-a-generation genius. In reality, she just watched an angry fireball carry me while I played mobile games. We arrived at the big mansion right at nightfall. 10 maids lined the entrance in matching black and white uniforms, bowing together in total perfect sync. Welcome home, young master. I was already used to this, so I just nodded and casually walked right in. Mom was waiting in the hall, looking incredibly elegant. She rushed over, grabbed my hands, frantically checked for injuries, and noticed my clothes were perfectly clean. She dragged me straight to the dining room. The feast was totally unbelievable. Everything was glowing red. Stir-fried red dragon liver, lava fruit salad, flame rhino soup, and a fire-roasted lamb. The entire room felt like a furnace from the aroma. Mom went all out on fire element food, exactly like I asked earlier. Trust me, my fireball went totally berserk the second I sat down. Stick with me here. My skill was literally screaming in my head, begging me to shove that dragon liver right into my mouth immediately. I just picked up a piece with my chopsticks and blew on it super slowly to tease it. That fireball completely lost its mind. You are a literal fire skill. Why are you scared of hot food? I thought back. Relax. I chewed incredibly slowly while it threw a massive tantrum, but I definitely felt the pure fire energy from that meal flowing in, charging it up again. During our dinner, Mom turned toward Yi Hong-yu, totally thanking her for everything. She saw I hit level 5 already, gaining 2 whole levels in just one single day. She tried handing her a shiny gold VIP card for our family equipment shop as a reward. Yi Hong-yu completely refused at first, claiming keeping me safe was her job. Dad put on his serious commander face and strictly ordered her to take it. She finally accepted. Then she suddenly said something, making the whole table freeze. Actually, ma'am, you have totally misunderstood. The real reason the young master leveled up so quickly today was mostly his own insane skills. She paused, then added, without his incredible technique, no matter how many monsters I gathered, it wouldn't have been nearly that efficient. Mom and Dad literally stared at each other, blinking. A blank slate. Mage? Incredible technique. Mom assumed Yi Hong-yu was simply being kind, trying to make me look amazing, but Dad definitely knew her better. She was proud and painfully blunt. She never lied to flatter anybody. Yi Hong-yu took a deep breath and said it seriously. Commander, ma'am, I am genuinely not exaggerating. The young master is the most naturally gifted mage I have ever seen or heard of. I immediately shrank back into my seat. My face got incredibly warm being praised that seriously. Even someone as thick-skinned as me actually felt pretty embarrassed. I literally spent the entire day playing mobile games. The fireball did absolutely everything. Then again, having a crazy cheat counts as talent, right? Now watch this closely. Dad put down his chopsticks for an explanation, but she pulled out her phone instead. Words won't do it justice. I recorded a video this afternoon. She simply hit play and turned the screen right toward my parents. The video was just about 15 seconds long. The dining room went completely dead silent. I glanced at my parents' faces from the corner of my eye and instantly wanted to crawl into a hole. My toes were curling so hard inside my shoes, I literally could have dug through the floor. The skill demonstration wasn't what actually embarrassed me. It was because the clip had audio. And somewhere inside those 15 seconds, you could very clearly hear me screaming at my phone. Screaming something totally humiliating from my game out loud while that fireball was casually annihilating monsters everywhere. Yi Hung Yu, you really couldn't have warned me you were filming? Dad's hands were literally shaking after watching that video. That fireball had reached second stage mental guidance. And I was playing a game at the exact same time. He absolutely understood exactly what that meant. Normal mages require absolutely full concentration just to cast a simple spell. Even truly gifted flame mages must stare at their target, pouring all their mental energy into guiding a fireball's trajectory. But his own son was playing a random mobile game while controlling fireballs with flawless accuracy. At the same time, he stated there probably weren't more than a small handful of people my age in the entire country who could easily pull that off. Mom suddenly covered her mouth, happy tears in her eyes. You and I know the truth, but they think forcing the fireball to change course with raw mind power is absolutely monstrous talent. I just sighed inside. I couldn't exactly admit the fireball had a mind of its own. Nobody would ever believe that. So, I just played it cool, pretended to choke on my food a bit, and quickly mumbled that it was no big deal. I said I couldn't look up due to my promotion match, so I just threw the fireball purely by feel. Dad slapped his thigh so incredibly hard the whole table shook. By feel? That is my boy. I knew my son wasn't useless. Just like that, the entire plan of faking sick for the big exam was totally scrapped. There was zero chance they were hiding me at home. Now, Mom immediately got down to serious business. To safely get into any top academy, I needed to reach level 10 before the upcoming exam and learn a second basic skill. She told Yi Hung Yu to help me grind non-stop for the next 2 days. I just agreed without arguing. Honestly, I didn't care much about the exam or college itself, but I figured university would actually be pretty perfect. No parents watching me constantly, nobody caring if I slept all day in my dorm. Plus, top academies had amazing living conditions. Plus, giving mom and dad something to brag about seemed like the absolute least I could do. They had heavily spoiled me this whole life. So getting them bragging rights counted as filial duty. Mom started listing skill books our family kept in stock. Water arrow, a shield, wind blade, healing, and even rare lightning strike. She asked which skill I wanted to learn. Dad confidently suggested earth shield. He said my fireball accuracy was incredible, but mages are super fragile. One assassin getting close or a team focusing fire on me, and I'm done. Earth shield had the absolute highest defense rating among basic skills, like wearing a turtle shell. Here's what we learned. Mom agreed. Safety first. Stay alive. Keep dealing damage. I thought it over. Dad's defense idea made sense. But come along with me. I just wanted to see if this new skill had its own wild personality. I really prayed it wasn't another angry maniac like that fireball. One was plenty. The fireball burped loudly inside my head, totally stuffed from the dragon liver, then instantly started complaining about wanting more epic battles and evolving into a forbidden spell. I completely ignored it and told my parents I would pick Earth Shield. Smart move. I want to stay safe so I can keep enjoying your money, I joked. Dad just laughed loudly and didn't even scold me. He then pulled out a glowing dark purple scroll, a super difficult Phantom Castle dungeon scroll. It was made for levels 3 through 5, meaning Yi Hong Yu could not enter. But Dad promised he had already organized a perfect team for me. He suddenly turned serious, warning me not to get cocky. Dungeon monsters are way tougher than normal ones. One chance, no mistakes. He refused to see me get hurt at all. I nodded back, completely serious. Even with my overpowered fireball, I had never stepped into a dungeon. Getting a team for my first run felt really smart. Dad always keeps me completely safe. He quickly sent Yi Hong Yu down to the underground vault to grab the absolute best mage gear for my level. Right then, the butler stepped in announcing Miss Ya and her group were here. Dad checked his watch and gave a big grin. Watch closely now. Right on schedule. The stiff and totally nervous group of young fighters showed up at our massive family mansion. You honestly cannot blame them. This huge place always intimidates visitors. Dad walked ahead, letting out a booming laugh. Welcome inside. Make yourselves totally at home. The main team leader was named Manhwa. Wearing a light blue mage robe, she had long hair, perfect skin, and freezing eyes that screamed, "Please do not bother me." She was incredibly famous, the beautiful ice queen from the neighboring school, followed by a massive line of fanboys across the city. She awakened as a genius water mage with top-tier affinity. Behind her stood 3 others. Jiang Kai, a tall, skinny ranger carrying a massive bow, Wang Ming, a huge beefy shield warrior, and Lui Wei, a super shy little priestess rocking cute twin ponytails. Mom completely hyped up seeing Gu and her looks. I shook her hand politely, feeling nothing. That freezing, untouchable vibe is just too exhausting. This was simply a basic dungeon run. She looked slightly shocked that I was not drooling over her like every other typical guy. Dad proudly explained that their fathers were his former military soldiers. These kids trained in actual combat since childhood, putting them way above your average students in pure strength. All 4 were level 4 with great gear and solid teamwork. Suddenly, Yi Hongyu returned, holding equipment glowing a faint, magical orange. Everyone absolutely froze. Was that the legendary purple cloud set? Literally the best mage gear under level 5. Jean Kai practically drooled. Even Shou lost her perfect composure. Here, gear ranks from bronze up to mythic. Handing a brand new, Al-Zero blank slate mage a full legendary set as a starter kit was just a completely ridiculous flex. I honestly brushed it off. Yang Yu helped me equip everything like I was a literal store mannequin. The fancy gear fit perfectly, dissolving into sparkles and hiding invisibly inside my body. Since equipment here auto-hides outside of battle, I just looked like a normal guy wearing my basic everyday street clothes. I know what you're thinking. Those stats must be crazy. My jaw dropped. The entire set stacked one broken thing massive cooldown reduction. The total gave me 60% shorter cooldowns. My fireball's 3-second timer instantly dropped to 1.2 seconds. Multi-burst fireball dropped from 15 seconds to 6. Absolutely insane. I caught Jean Kai and Wang Ming secretly exchanging a bitter look. I saw it clearly. Pure jealousy. They fully believed this god-tier equipment was totally wasted on a talentless, 0 skill, blank slate, mage. Just a spoiled rich kid. Dad easily noticed it too. Decades of war makes you read people perfectly. He pulled me aside, speaking incredibly quietly. "Son, remember we bought this expensive dungeon scroll, and we are paying their team too. You are the boss. They are helpers." He grabbed my shoulder. In dungeons, fighters fall. When pure danger strikes, human nature kicks in. Survival first. Someone might even try stealing your legendary equipment. Dad then glanced right at the 4 kids, raising his voice just enough so they would definitely hear. "If anybody gives you trouble in there or disrespects you, tell Dad. I will make them completely regret the day they were born." He dropped all subtlety. He needed their absolute fear of him to completely overpower their fear of any monster. A dark but perfect way to protect me. He commanded Yang Yu to walk us to the dungeon entrance and wait right outside. If anyone dared to disrespect me along the way, she could completely destroy them however she wanted. Yi Hongyu immediately flashed a freezing glare. Her sharp gaze sliced through Jiang Kai and the rest like a literal sword. You could see the terrified chills running right down their stiff necks. Even Xiang froze. I waved them on. "Trust me, you'll want to see this run. Trust me, you and I are about to see attitudes flip." They became my loyal henchmen instantly. As we walked out the entrance hall, 2 perfect rows of maids bowed in total unison, calling out together, "Safe travels, young master. Wishing you absolute victory." The 4 new guys practically jumped right out of their skin. So this is mega rich family life. They probably thought, wow, that is way too much. The dungeon car ride felt incredibly awkward. Everyone sat completely tense, probably overwhelmed by walking through that massive mansion and the ice-cold bodyguard driving us there. Jiang Kai tried his best to break the ice. Clearing his throat, he very politely explained to me that these dungeon monsters were way tougher than any normal wild ones. He bragged that their team had practiced together forever with a super tight system, and since I was an unpredictable all-around mage with questionable aim, I might completely mess up their perfect rhythm. His brilliant advice? Just stand in the back, treat it like a fun sightseeing trip. and do absolutely nothing. That was my contribution. Now watch closely, because next, Yi Hongyu violently slammed on the brakes. Jiang Kai flew entirely forward, smashing his face right into the seat in front. Before he could even complain, he met Yi Hongyu's absolutely furious glare in the rearview mirror. Pure ice. Did I actually hear that right? Are you calling our young master too weak to fight, or daring to boss him around? Jiang Kai instantly turned completely pale white. He frantically slapped his own face, begging for my forgiveness as a total idiot. Meanwhile, Wang Ming and little Louis Wei were visibly trembling right in the corner. Even Xiao Wei had incredibly sweaty palms. I felt awful, looking exactly like an arrogant novel villain whose crazy bodyguard terrorizes absolutely everyone around him. Exactly the kind of annoying guy wiped out by Chapter 3. Xiao Wei quickly stepped in to smooth things over, claiming he was simply worried about my safety. I told Yi Hongyu to let it go and keep driving. She gave one final cold snort and hit the gas. Jiang Kai collapsed in his seat, completely drenched in sweat, swearing to absolutely never open his big mouth again. Meanwhile, my magic fireball was having a complete meltdown inside my head. It angrily screamed that Jiang Kai had totally insulted our shared dignity by calling my aim trash. It wanted to fly right out and blast him instantly. I had to talk it down. Come on, he just said something completely dumb. That is not worth destroying someone over. The fireball violently disagreed. It claimed the strong demand, absolute respect, and roasting him to ashes was the only proper response. Sighing, I tried another approach entirely. Listen, oh fireball, we need standards. Taking out absolutely everyone who acts a bit rude just makes us crazy supervillains. That is not us. I explained that true power protects the people you care about, instead of just mercilessly bullying your own teammates. If we are truly strong enough, the facts will naturally shut everyone up completely. No need for extreme payback over simple trash talk. The fireball grumbled heavily, but finally calmed down, agreeing it would totally spare his miserable life. We all know that feeling of proving doubters wrong. It vowed to show everyone what real blinding damage looked like. Inside. Fair enough. About an hour later, our car finally parked on a barren, rocky plain. Everyone piled out into the cold night wind. Although, after surviving Yi Hongyu's furious glare, Jiang Kai honestly found the freezing air super refreshing by comparison. Yi Hongyu smoothly pulled out the dungeon scroll. As the scroll burned away, the air right in front of us tore open with a deep hum, revealing a glowing purple crack in space, the dungeon entrance. She turned to me. Be careful in there. Don't try being a hero. Survival first. Then she sharply looked at the other four. You accepted Lin family money and took this exact mission. Protect the young master with absolutely everything you have. If he gets even a single scratch. Jiang Kai and Wang Ming nodded so incredibly fast. Their heads almost fell right off. Even Xiao Wei gave a very serious nod, promising to ensure absolutely everyone's safety as team captain. Satisfied, Yi Hongyu confidently waved us off. Go! We bravely stepped through that glowing purple crack, and the whole world spun. Opening my eyes, we stood inside an incredibly creepy castle hallway. Black stone walls, covered in withered vines and awful moss, with eerie lanterns burning bright blue ghost fire every few meters. This place is super grim, I said. The fireball instantly lost it. It was completely outraged by those fake blue flames. It called them fake fire, a total disgrace to the dignity of real flames. Pure heresy against the fire element. Its system status instantly updated to Angry Purifier, proudly vowing to scorch every single fake flame inside this entire dungeon. Because it got so intensely worked up, it gave itself a massive damage buff, plus 100% against ghostly monsters. I just shook my head, angry over the wrong color fire. Honestly though, I was finally starting to understand its pattern. It acted basically like those loud anime heroes who power up by screaming and getting super emotional. The angrier this fireball got, the harder it smashed. Xiao Wei took strict command immediately. Tapping her staff on the ground, she sent out a glowing blue light and started barking orders. So are you ready for this? Wang Ming grabbed his huge shield up front, while Jiang Kai aimed his bow to watch for sneaky ambushes. Stick with me. Louis Wei handled healing, and I stood right in the center. She even ordered Jiang Kai to guard me if anything attacked from behind. Jiang Kai thumped his chest, promising he'd drop before I got hurt. I simply said I'd stand back and cheer them on. Then I whipped out spicy snacks from home. My fireball totally scoffed at this whole setup. These rookies protecting it? Funniest joke ever, apparently. We slowly crept down the completely silent hallway. Suddenly, a harsh scraping noise echoed like grinding bones. Zhaoying immediately called for a halt. Two glowing blue flames pierced the darkness. Then we saw it clearly. A level 5 elite phantom cat. It resembled a leopard skeleton with bright blue fire burning between its bones. Zhaoying's face dropped. A super fast elite monster already? She barked orders to wait for its charge before striking. Now pay attention. At this range, hitting that thing was impossible, but my fireball wasn't waiting. A bright orange glow erupted behind us. A fireball screamed past Zhaoying and Jiang Kai's heads. Jiang Kai yelled to wait until it approached. Hitting a crazy fast monster from this far? Absolutely no way. The spirit cat dodged left at the last second. The fireball sailed right past. He sighed, missed. Then the fireball froze mid-air, like some invisible hand just grabbed it. It spun around, slamming the cat's side. The beast shrieked loudly, tumbling wildly across the floor. Before anyone could even process that crazy move, a second fireball was already flying out. My purple cloud gear slashed cooldowns by 60%. That 3-second timer dropped to 1.2. The first barely hit before the second launched. Then a third. The cat desperately dodged, but it couldn't escape. 3 massive explosions. That level 5 elite was instantly reduced to scattered bones. The whole thing took maybe 4 seconds. Nobody else moved. Everyone stared blankly at the scattered bones. Then right back at me. Jiang Kai's voice cracked, completely stunned. Gone. Just 3 fireballs. Zhaoying looked deeply shaken too. As an A-rank top student, she knew the math. Even an S-rank flame mage needed 6 fireballs to take down a full health level 5 elite. I did it in 3. Plus, that mid-air redirect? Even the very best national exam fire mages absolutely couldn't pull that off. I happily crunched a spicy fire nut from my little snack bag. The crunch echoed down the hall. I offered some out. Want any? Pretty spicy. They just stared. You see what they're thinking, right? I was snacking through that. No, thanks, Jiang Kai mumbled. I shrugged, packing them away. Well, why are we standing around? This place creeps me out. I want to finish and sleep. That snapped them out of it. Jiang Kai started bowing, calling me a hidden master. Those fireballs were pure art. Wang Ming quickly joined the flattery. Even Zhaoying looked at me differently. She expected to babysit a useless rich kid. Now, she wasn't sure who the real rookie was. She quickly adjusted the strategy. With my heavy firepower, we could push faster. Wang Ming sped up. Then Lui Wei went totally pale. Monsters. So many monsters. We looked ahead. Dozens of glowing blue eyes suddenly lit up the pitch darkness. Dozens of level 5 phantom cats. Smaller than the elite, just normal rank. But that sheer number was absolutely terrifying. Zhaoying didn't panic, barking orders. Wang Ming firmly held the front line. Jiang Kai fired arrows left. Lui Wei shielded Wang Ming, prepping heals. Everyone back. Tighten the circle, clear them slowly. She didn't get to finish. A fireball screamed past, heading straight for the pack. Lin Mo, she gasped, assuming I was reckless. Attacking fast monsters triggers the whole swarm. Then, the fireball violently shuddered and split completely mid-air. It became 15 fireballs, raining down on those cats like an epic meteor shower. Multi-burst fireball, an elementary fire skill. Zhaoying recognized it instantly. The explosions were deafening. Fire erupted absolutely everywhere. Victory notifications flooded my panel. 40 experience each, over and over. My fireball cackled in my mind, bragging it just invented this yesterday. Zhaoying quickly recovered, shouting to clear the survivors. Wang Ming, finish off the stragglers. So what do you and I take from this? They barely had to help. 6 seconds later, cooldown return. Trust me, you gotta see this. A second fireball split into 15 projectiles, blasting whatever remained. Under 30 seconds, every single cat was defeated. Zhaoying just stared at the piles of shattered bones. Originally, She planned for the entire team to spend 10 whole minutes on careful positioning and strategy. Instead, I finished everything in under 30 seconds. That was absolutely unbelievable. Lin Mo Jiang Kai mumbled weakly. Everyone turned to stare at me again. Meanwhile, I just stood there munching on some snacks. I felt super awkward. I had not done anything. I simply ate nuts and watched. This was completely the fireball's doing. It wasn't me at all. Xia Qinghua just couldn't help herself. She begged to know how many skill books I used learning multi-burst fireball. To her, beginner mage learning this without elemental affinity would need dozens, maybe hundreds of pricey skill books, and each one costs 6 figures in national currency. I just scratched my head. Skill books? Never seen one. She froze completely. You mean you used none? Yeah, I shrugged. You just split it apart and make it explode, right? Is it that hard? The fireball instantly went totally ballistic inside my head. It screamed that it nearly destroyed itself, figuring this out entirely alone on the grassland while I was soundly sleeping. And now, I was taking credit like it was absolutely nothing. It called me completely shameless, yelling that stealing its hard work would bring terrible karma. I silenced it with just one sentence. Do you still want that stir-fried red dragon tonight? Instant silence. Its status updated too. Humiliation damage, plus 100%. Honestly, showing off a little bit felt pretty incredibly good. Jin Kai suddenly jumped in with an excited analysis. He enthusiastically pointed out that even S-rank fire mages learning through books could only split 3 to 5 fireballs initially. Since I just split 15, it meant my mastery was at the absolute peak level. That could never be achieved by just cramming books. He declared me the greatest mage genius in history, joking that all those S-rank mages should go raise pigs. Sia looked pretty uncomfortable. If S-rank mages should raise pigs, then her rank meant she should go play in the mud. I just waved them off, blaming pure luck. Let's keep moving so I could finally go home and sleep. Sia looked at me with even greater respect. Not just incredible talent, but perfectly humble too. She truly thought I was some kind of wise master. Honestly, I just wanted to go to bed. We pushed forward at full speed, with me providing all the firepower. Watch closely. Inside was perfectly smooth, but outside the dungeon, things went horribly wrong. As I learned later, 30 minutes into our run, Yi Hongyu suddenly felt a terrifying tremor from deep underground. A dark, wicked energy suddenly blanketed the area. The dungeon entrance, previously glowing purple, turned pitch black, looking exactly like a terrifying demon's eye snapping wide open. Yi Hongyu's face went completely pale. She recognized it immediately. Abyssal corruption. In this world, permanent dungeons are completely stable and safe. Then there are unpredictable temporary dungeons, opened by totally random scrolls exactly like ours. These temporary dungeons hold an incredibly rare chance of being invaded by wild energy from another dimension, causing them to dangerously mutate. The chance is 1 in 100,000. The city saw nothing for 8 years. Here is the truly terrifying part. Normally, if a dungeon run goes completely wrong, you just crush a return scroll and instantly teleport to safety. Yi Hongyu actually handed me several before we entered. That was our ultimate safety net. But when any dungeon goes completely abyssal, turn scrolls instantly stop working. The only way out alive is to completely defeat the final boss and clear the dungeon. Yi Hongyu's hands were trembling as she called my father. Dad answered cheerfully, completely assuming I had already cleared the dungeon. Then Yi Hongyu explained everything. Later, I heard that a teacup violently shattered on the other end, followed by my dad loudly screaming that he was rushing over immediately. You know what's crazy? Inside, I was just munching snacks, totally unaware our simple dungeon run had completely turned into an absolute nightmare. Things got insanely weird, fast. The dungeon's air totally changed. That damp, rotting smell suddenly twisted into something chillingly sweet and heavily metallic. The skull lanterns on the walls violently flickered, quickly shifting from blue to dark purple. Zhaoying instantly froze completely in her tracks. She frantically looked around, checking everything twice, before whispering to words that chilled everyone to the core. Abyssal corruption. Jin Kai panicked and quickly ripped out his return scroll. Nothing happened. The scroll was totally useless. It was real. We were trapped. Lui Wei immediately started crying. Wang Mang's hands were violently trembling against his heavy shield. Jin Kai stared at me with tears, desperately asking what we should do next. Somewhere along the way, I somehow became the person everyone turned to instead of Hua. I was intensely cursing my luck internally. 18 years in this world, and I finally unlock a cheat ability. And on my absolute first dungeon run, I hit a 1 in 100,000. Disaster. Unbelievable. The fireball, however, was basically having the absolute time of its life. It was literally inhaling the abyssal energy, trembling with massive excitement, calling the twisted atmosphere totally beautiful, and a true calling right from hell. You see it too, right? Its damage hit plus 200%. Obviously totally thrilled. This creature adored pure chaos. Brushing snack crumbs off my hands, I cheerfully told everyone to quit moping around. Stick with me here. No, turning back means pushing forward. Sia gripped her staff, ordering the crew to form up around me. We charged right in. The remaining dungeon was totally brutal. Those corrupted monsters were incredibly fierce and massively aggressive. But between my gear's cooldown reduction and the fireball's wild abyssal damage boost, we smashed our way down into the very deepest zone. I hit level 6. Everyone else reached level 5. We finally halted before a massive black door, 10 meters tall. Sai Ingwa whispered that the boss waited inside. Then, the massive door opened entirely unprompted. An intense wave of pressure slammed us. Sitting upon a bone throne was the boss. An abyss skeleton knight, level 5. Shattered black armor, purple soul, fire blazing where a face belonged, wielding a 2-meter greatsword, riding a skeletal steed engulfed in phantom flames. It roared loudly. That single sound left Jin Kai and Lui Wei gasping for air. Even Wang Ming was visibly trembling. The fireball was ecstatic. Finally, a worthy opponent. Xiao Qing rallied the crew. It is only level 5. We have Lin Mo. We have a chance. Wang Ming, get up front. Before she finished speaking, the excited fireball launched at the knight, totally ignoring my command. A 200% damage bonus created a massive explosion. Jin Kai cheered. Direct hit. But as the thick smoke faded, the skeleton knight remained completely motionless. A glowing purple shield shimmered around it. My ultimate attack did 0 damage. The fireball was absolutely stunned. Now pay attention here. 200% bonus damage did absolutely nothing. The knight mounted its skeletal horse, charging directly at us. The entire floor shook. Wang Ming yelled out, slamming his massive tower shield down, immediately activating his defensive skill. The knight's heavy greatsword crashed down. Just one single hit, Wang Ming went flying, shield and all, taking heavy damage. He crashed into a wall 15 meters away. Lui Wei screamed, rushing over, while Jin Kai looked pale. If my magic fireball could not dent it, what chance did we possess? I kept calm, but frowned deeply. This situation was an actual problem. I ordered the fireball to keep firing and pushed the knight backward. We could not let it near the team. It did not need reminding. Bright explosions illuminated the entire hall as rapid fireballs and multi-burst attacks repeatedly hammered the knight, forcefully driving it back. However, once the flames faded away, that glowing purple shield remained perfectly intact. Let that sink in. Without breaking its shield, this boss was immortal. But then, I noticed something. The fireball had actually stopped ranting. It stared intensely at the shield, completely silent for once. Its status updated to deep thinking. Intelligence was clearly taking control. I raised an eyebrow in surprise. Was my little fireball having another epic breakthrough? The massive skeleton knight locked onto me. It realized I was the only actual threat here. Take me out, and the annoying fireball disappears. It lowered itself onto the skeletal horse, preparing to charge. Zhaoying bravely jumped before me, her face covered in dust, looking fully prepared to fall. Run away, Lin Mo. I will hold it back. Wang Ming dragged himself over too, shield raised. Severe bruises covering his chin. I will buy time. Go. I casually kicked Wang Ming's behind. Are you guys silly? Run where? Hide somewhere until we completely fade away? Xiaowa blinked, totally caught off guard. I stared right at the imposing skeleton knight. We defeat it. We walk out the front doors feeling extremely proud. If one hit fails, we strike 10 times, 100 times. We finish this. That snapped everyone back immediately. Jiang Kai crawled up, legs trembling, but a desperate, fierce fire burning in his eyes. Whatever, we are doomed either way this goes. Let us fight. Wang Ming wiped the dust from his mouth, gripping his shield tightly. Whatever Linamo commands, we follow. Meanwhile, the fireball experienced something crazy inside my mind. It realized it must concentrate all its raw power into a single focused point to pierce that shield. It kept attempting to compress fire energy tighter, but whenever it squeezed way too hard, the volatile elements explosively burst apart in every single direction. Much too unstable. I simply intervened. I casually gave it a hint. Just spin it. When objects rotate incredibly fast, energy locks directly into the center. It completely stops scattering. Maximum rotation equals maximum penetration. Understand? The fireball stayed entirely quiet. Then, a brilliant flash of sudden understanding hit it. It started rearranging complex elemental patterns at blinding speed. Seconds later, brand new skill appeared. Explosive Spiral Dragon Shot. An elementary rank single target ability boasting massive fire damage, 30-second cooldown. Hearing just spin, it sounds very simple, but doing it with fire elements is nearly impossible. Fire remains the most volatile element. Compressing it while spinning at super high speeds should technically cause it to collapse and detonate in the caster's hands. Only something totally freakish like my conscious fireball, wielding such insane elemental control, could actually pull this off from a simple two-word hint. That's where we leave it. I slowly pointed my finger gun right at the knight, and confidently smiled. Watch this. A mage needs way more than area attacks. Stick with me here. Everyone stared in pure shock as another new skill unlocked. Just like that, a fiery spark ignited right on my fingertip. Then it started vibrating wildly, spinning faster and faster. The air pulled inward, creating a massive glowing vortex of pure energy. The fireball suddenly shrank down, fist-sized, then golf ball, then just a tiny dot of intense red light. The glowing aura shifted from bright orange to deep ruby. Even though it looked small, the power inside was so packed that space itself warped like crazy. Wild winds whipped my robes and hair backward. Right then, the system voice and mind synced up perfectly. Shatter. I pulled an invisible trigger. The compressed blast roared forward with a massive boom, leaving a spiraling trail of flames behind. The solid stone floor completely cracked and shattered underneath it. The huge blast rocked the entire hall. That single strike punched straight through the purple shield, breaking it into glowing pieces. The skeleton knight got blasted dozens of meters back, crashing right through its own skeletal throne, lost inside a dust cloud. Jin Kai's jaw hit the floor. It totally broke. Everyone stood frozen. Only one hit. That unbeatable shield making all our attacks totally useless? Completely destroyed in one single strike. I blew on my smoking fingertip and glanced at the stunned team. What are you guys waiting for? Go hit it while it is completely down. Pay attention now, because while we battled for survival inside, a massive circus was starting outside. From what I learned later, the area turned into a full military zone. Dozens of searchlights, hundreds of armed guards, yellow warning tape totally surrounding the dungeon entrance. My dad came crashing right down from the sky like a meteor. He did not even dress properly, just a black coat over his bare chest, eyes totally exhausted. Mom appeared beside him, being pale, but standing proud. She was way too proud to show weakness around those guards. Yi Hong Yu briefed them. They entered 45 minutes ago. The dungeon turned abyssal 10 minutes later. Mom's voice shook. How could this even happen? This has not happened in years, and it targets our son. Dad's fists literally crackled with wild lightning. He was barely keeping it together. Then things got even worse. A whole convoy of black military vehicles arrived. Out stepped Zhao Lilei, Dad's absolute biggest rival, the other defense commander, rocking a crisp suit and gold glasses. Behind him stood his absolute pride and joy, Zhao Yu, the S-rank flame prodigy, plus a squad of 4 elite young fighters, all level 5. Rocking full legendary gear. Zhao immediately asked about our team setup. When Yi Hongyu honestly listed our team out, 1 blank slate mage, 1 a rank water mage, 2 B ranks, and in a rank healer, all around level 4 with gold tier equipment. Zhao Lilei frowned heavily. His son, Zhao Yu, smirked confidently. We had been compared to each other our entire lives, and Zhao really disliked me. Zhao Lilei just shook his head, calling my dad totally foolish. He claimed if dad wanted someone to carry me through leveling, he should have just asked. He could have sent his own son instead. We both felt that gut punch coming, right? With our weak setup, survival was basically 0%. Dad fiercely snapped at him to stop. Nobody could ever predict a 1 in 100,000 abyssal corruption. He told Zhao Lilei to stop acting helpful. Zhao Lilei stepped back and revealed his plan. Since this was a level 3 to 5 dungeon, once it fully reset after we presumably failed inside, his son would lead his elite squad in to clear it and stop monsters escaping. He bragged his son's team was the only force in the entire city capable of handling an abyssal dungeon at this intense level. Zhao Yu stepped forward with his typical smug confidence. Uncle Lin and Aunt Su lax. Even though Lin Mo is likely gone, I will be ready. The moment the dungeon resets, I will personally defeat that boss to get payback for him. That is when Mom spoke up. Who says my boy is gone? Her voice shook, but didn't waver. The dungeon hasn't reset, meaning they're still going strong. I believe in my son. She paused. Maybe he isn't just merely surviving in there. Maybe he is clearing it right now. She looked at Dad, searching for support. Dad looked into her tearful eyes. He completely knew the odds, but he couldn't bring himself to crush her hope. That is right, he said, voice rough. Our boy can do it. He will make it. Zhao Lilei stared at them for a moment, shaking his head silently. A blank slate mage with a random team clearing an abyssal dungeon? Pure fantasy. I heard later he was so absolutely confident we would completely fail. He privately told someone he'd actually eat his military SUV tires if we really pulled this insane one off. With the shield finally shattered, everyone piled on. Jin Kai screamed like crazy, rapidly firing his arrows. Wang Ming charged right in, smashing his shield into the knight's kneecap. Not much damage, but incredibly disrespectful. You and I just watched absolute magic. Zhang Guo launched water arrows, and that fireball went full automatic, hammering the boss non-stop. Compared to my firepower, everyone else was basically tickling it. The boss's health absolutely melted fast. At 70%, it roared, sending Wang Mang flying again, and quickly regenerated that glowing purple shield. Jin Kai instantly spun around and looked right at me. Stick with me. I didn't waste time. Finger gun, compress, spin, fire, shield shattered, zero drama. This played out 3 more times. Whenever that knight rebuilt its shield, I shattered it in one single shot. The whole fight basically became routine. Shield goes up, I blast it apart. Everyone smashes the boss while it stays exposed. Finally, the skeleton knight collapsed into a pile of dark bones. 20,000 experience points. I instantly jumped straight to level 7. Lui Wei collapsed to the ground, crying with pure relief. Jiang Kai went nuts, hugging Wang Ming and happily bouncing around. Even Jianyua finally let herself smile. We had actually cleared an abyssal dungeon. Though it was only hard difficulty, that was still a massive, incredible achievement. I glanced at the epic loot floating above the boss remains. The absolute best piece was a gold rank warrior equipment. Not bad, but totally useless to me. Split it among yourselves, I said. Sia immediately refused. She said I was the true employer. The dungeon drops belonged to me, and without me, they would be wiped out. She wouldn't take any of it. Plus, she insisted they would return the hiring fee my dad paid them. Getting to tag along and gain 2 levels of experience was already way more than they actually deserved. Jiang Kai and the others totally agreed. Now pay attention. Even though I saw they were tempted by that gold gear, I couldn't be bothered arguing, so I just swept everything into my shiny inventory. Then Shaw brought up the massive exam coming in 2 days. She said, with my newly gained strength, I could easily get into Tunlong Academy, the most prestigious school in the entire country. The absolute ultimate dream for every fighter in the nation. Graduates start their careers as city-level military commanders at minimum. She looked completely, genuinely envious. I simply wondered if they had good dorms and a decent cafeteria. Then Jin Kai brought up something extremely interesting. Apparently, the city prepared an epic prize for the top scorer this year. A complete heart from a lava giant beast. Hearing that, Wang Ming literally almost choked. He explained that lava giant beast parts were astronomically expensive and basically impossible to find anywhere, even if you had money. The fireball went totally insane. Its drool was practically flooding my entire skill panel. It loudly screamed that it needed that heart, because eating it would bring it much closer to becoming a forbidden spell. I decided to have some fun. You want it that badly? Call me daddy. The fireball instantly exploded with pure rage. You and I saw that coming, right? It screamed about its noble dignity. Fine, I mentally shrugged. I was gonna try hard, but I guess we'll just totally coast. Too bad about that epic heart though. I heard it is pure fire element essence. People say it bursts with juice when you bite it. Total silence. A long, painful silence. Then, in the absolute, most awkward, resentful whisper imaginable. Daddy. Louder, I can't hear you. I already said it. Good enough. I happily waved everyone toward the glowing exit. Let's go. Yi Hong Yu is probably falling asleep waiting for us. I stepped out of the dungeon portal and literally almost tripped over my own 2 feet. Hundreds of tense soldiers, massive floodlights everywhere, and a wall of eyes staring right at me. Whoa, huge welcome party, I muttered. I easily spotted Zhao standing right there with the face like he had just swallowed something completely rotten. I honestly couldn't resist. Hey, Zhao, out here enjoying the night breeze instead of sleeping? How relaxing. He turned bright red and couldn't get a word out. Before I could say anything else, Mom crashed into me like a speeding freight train. She emotionally squeezed me so hard, I swore my ribs would snap. She was crying and yelling about how absolutely terrified she had been, saying she would be completely destroyed if I got hurt. Mom, let go. The monsters didn't end me, but your hug is totally about to. She quickly released me, wiped her tears, and began inspecting every single inch of my body for injuries. Dad walked up next. He didn't cry or squeeze me incredibly tight, but the hand he placed directly on my shoulder was visibly trembling. Good kid. Surviving is all that matters. Then he deeply looked past me at Xia Qinghua and the others. His sharp eyes narrowed. They were barely scratched, just mildly dusty and tired. He simply couldn't understand how any team could exit a dangerous abyssal dungeon, almost completely unharmed. Zhaoying stepped right forward and bowed deeply. She told my parents everything, explaining how I single-handedly shattered the boss's shield, effortlessly dealt over 90% of the damage, and basically carried the entire team. Without me, they'd all be totally finished. She quickly pulled out a bank card and tried returning the hiring fee, insisting they didn't deserve payment since they barely contributed and gained 2 free levels, plus a massive record-breaking clear on their resumes. Jin Kai and Wang Ming backed her up enthusiastically. Lin Mo was insane. He totally carried everything. We were basically just total cheerleaders in there. I scratched my head, face a bit warm from being praised right in front of hundreds of soldiers. Come on, just regular impressive. But what nobody mentioned yet, trust me, you'll want to see. Stick with me, because looking up at that dungeon record board changed everything for us. That 18-year-old speed record was totally gone. Our names flashed up there instead. 1 hour, 5 minutes, 22 seconds. A rookie team breaking an abyssal dungeon record. Unbelievable. Dad was so ecstatic he laughed, shoving that bank card right back into Shi's hands. When Lin Tinhao hands out cash, he absolutely refuses refunds. Mom smiled and insisted too, telling Xia to buy recovery items after surviving that absolute nightmare together. Xia finally gave in. Dad immediately got a driver to take Xia's team home safely, then spun around to face me, wearing the most massive grin ever. Meanwhile, I spotted Zhao standing off to the side, his face totally frozen in pure shock. His son was fully equipped, ready to bravely charge inside and avenge me, but instead, I strolled out completely unharmed, holding a shiny new record. I suddenly remembered his ridiculous promise to eat his car tires if I actually cleared the place. Now watch closely, because Zhao was definitely not done scheming, and things are about to get wild. He ordered his officer to secretly bribe Xia, demanding she lose the upcoming city exam on purpose. Why? Because his son Zhao Yu desperately needed first place. That top prize was an incredibly rare lava giant beast heart, a fire element treasure so legendary that endless piles of cash still couldn't buy it. Zhao wanted it for his S-rank flame mage son at any absolute cost. My fireball companion would have totally roasted an entire building if it knew someone wanted to steal its precious snack. Good thing it was way too distracted, happily drooling over the thought of munching on that heart, to care about anything else. The fireball kept whining inside my head, crying about being starved after firing off that explosive spiral dragon shot way too often. My own stomach was loudly growling too. I begged Mom for food before anything else, specifically requesting meals packed with spicy fire energy. Mom instantly shifted into action mode, promising to get her 5-star cooking team working right away. Fire dragon meat, deep sea flame marrow soup, literally whatever I wanted. Meanwhile, Dad just kept fiercely staring at where Zhao's convoy vanished. He was absolutely fuming. Zhao had shown up fully prepared with his son's squad, completely assuming I had already been taken out. Huge surprise. Dad suddenly turned to me with literal fire in his eyes. Son, we absolutely cannot waste incredible talent like yours. I'm calling in the 3rd Special Forces squad tonight, and we are completely locking down this area. They will round up monsters, weaken them to 0 energy, and deliver them straight to you. We are grinding all night to crush Zhao Yu. I totally froze mid-daydream about my delicious dinner. All night? I just survived an abyssal run, and now I have to pull an all-nighter. Right before I could complain, Mom defended me. She slapped Dad's hand away and started yelling, "Are you totally out of your mind? He barely made it out of there. His mental energy is totally drained. Do you want to work him into the ground?" I was mentally giving Mom a massive standing ovation, but the fireball? Total opposite opinion. It shouted, "Only absolute weaklings need sleep. Eat up, then get back to battling. I am going to become a legendary forbidden spell. This is nothing." I ignored it, until an idea struck. Let's pause here. If I slept at home, that crazy fireball would absolutely sneak out and grind alone. I would wake up way higher leveled and have to explain everything all over again. Oh, sure, I secretly went out training at 3 a.m. That weak excuse was definitely getting old. So Dad swayed Mom with a compromise, promising to haul my actual bed here from the mansion. The Special Forces squad would handle all the intense fighting, dragging weakened monsters directly to my bedside, letting me just flick a finger for the final strike. Safely lying down in my very own bed with comfy silk sheets. Mom hesitated. Sleeping outdoors? That is totally ridiculous. I knew I had to commit. If I am stuck out here grinding, at least I get my bed. The fireball handles all the battling, and I get some peaceful sleep. Everyone totally wins. I quickly put on my most determined face, clenched my fist, and delivered an epic speech worthy of a true hero. Mom, Dad is right. I am super exhausted, but I absolutely refuse to let this family down. One sleepless night for the exam and our family honor. I will do it. Mom's eyes instantly went red with tears. Such a brave, selfless child. If only she knew. I was totally planning to sleep through the entire thing. She then pulled out an awesome skill book glowing with bright, earthy brown light, specially prepared that morning. The exact Earth Shield basic skill we discussed during breakfast. I could not learn it until level 10, but with an elite squad feeding me experience points all night, I would easily hit 10 by morning. I seriously wondered what this new skill's personality would be like. Please, just anything but another angry maniac. One crazy fireball was plenty. Dad instantly started barking out orders. Bring in the 3rd Special Forces squad right now. Disassemble my bedroom and transport the entire bed here. Silk blankets, latex pillows, the aromatherapy machine. Absolutely everything. Send the cooking team with all their gear. 10 minutes. The officer saluted, but turning away, he was totally sweating. And trust me, you and I know this night is gonna be legendary. Let's jump right into the absolute madness of this extremely wealthy family. Dad told Yihong Yu to guard me, then prepared to head out with Mom. She grabbed my hand and completely fussed over me about 5 more times before finally hopping inside the car. As they drove off, Dad leaned out, shouting for me to win. I just thumped my chest and pointed back. Dad, that city championship is totally mine. Absolutely nothing can stop me now. My parents just smiled at each other super proudly inside their car. Then Dad turned to Mom and asked who I was talking about. She guessed some classmates. Classic parents. They set up this incredibly massive luxury tent right on the wasteland. Persian carpets everywhere, plus a long table loaded with freshly cooked food. A maid in a black and white uniform knelt beside me, feeding me pieces of flame-roasted pork with a shiny silver fork. The fireball was going absolutely crazy, demanding I eat even faster. The maid giggled, teasing me about how well my body absorbed all that spicy fire element food. Before things got weird, Yi Hongyu walked in and announced everything was completely ready. The entire Special Forces squad was assembled and my bed was set up completely outside. I wiped my face and headed right out. And there it was, my custom king-size bed, sitting perfectly in the middle of a rocky wasteland, surrounded by dozens of heavily armed Special Forces soldiers. I sat on the mattress. Perfection. 3 squad leaders introduced themselves. Oh, the Berserker, Reno the Ranger, and Shu the powerful Earth Mage. They promised every monster they brought would be taken down to 5% health, or less. I just had to flick a single finger. I grabbed my phone, starting a ranked match. I had just eaten, not sleepy yet. They scattered into the darkness. Seconds later, monsters started flying at me from every direction. A broken wasteland wolf from 3 o'clock. The fireball blasted it without me even looking up. A pair of poison lizards from 12 o'clock. 2 fireballs, 2 swift takedowns, 2 seconds. The soldiers were completely amazed. Now pay attention here. They heard rumors from Yi Hongyu, but witnessing this firsthand was something else completely. Shu, being a mage himself, knew exactly how utterly impossible this level of multitasking was actually supposed to be. They got way more efficient as the night went on. 1 or 2 monsters at first, then groups of 3 to 5. All hurled at my bed from totally different angles. The fireball handled every single one perfectly. I played 7 or 8 ranked matches, won a whole bunch, then hit a losing streak. Eventually, my eyes really started losing focus. I had been awake all the previous night, plus that abyssal dungeon. Today, I was done. I tossed my phone onto the pillow and burrowed into my soft silk sheets. You guys just keep going. I will close my eyes for a bit. 3 seconds later, I was totally out cold. O came sprinting back with an iron-armored rhino and was about to shout for me to blast it. Then he saw me tightly wrapped up in my cozy blankets. Shu ran up with a weakened porcupine and froze too. They debated for a moment. Orders were to grind all night. Nobody said stop if the young master falls asleep. But what if something actually goes wrong? They bravely decided to test it. O gently tossed the rhino toward the open space near my bed. Suddenly, a fireball materialized out of thin air and completely vaporized it instantly. Can you believe this? They froze completely. I was fast asleep. O called me quietly. Nothing. He called louder. I grunted, hugged my pillow, rolled over, and kept snoring. They simply stared at each other in absolute awe. I was in deep sleep, rolling over naturally, without waking up. Yet monsters were still getting instantly defeated all around me. Shu started, trembling with pure excitement. He whispered to O about incredible legends of elite fighters who trained themselves to battle while sleeping. No conscious thought, just pure instinct and spiritual reflex. O pointed out those were supposedly top-tier veterans, and I had only awakened 2 days ago. Shu fired back that I was Commander Lin's son, and a genius like me being slightly freakish was just completely normal. They both nodded seriously, profound newfound reverence in their eyes. What are we standing around for? Back to work. Off they went, continuing to hurl monsters right at my bed while I slept like a little baby. The fireball kept eliminating everything without me even knowing or caring. I woke up the next morning to a sweet maid holding a warm glass of milk by my bed. I drank it, then checked my system panel. Level 10. Just like that, I had slept through the entire night while those Special Forces guys kept throwing monsters at me. The fireball literally handled everything on autopilot until eventually it completely passed out, too. Apparently, eventually stopped responding to incoming monsters. So Yi Hongyu told them to stop and let me rest. When O and Shu approached, they looked incredibly exhausted with severely red eyes. O called my sleeping battle ability deep meditation, claiming I was basically a god for maintaining such perfect accuracy while entirely unconscious. For most of the night, I just laughed awkwardly. Yeah, sure, deep meditation. Let's just go with that. Yi Hongyu asked if I wanted to keep grinding. I casually glanced at my skill panel. The fireball status clearly read. Sound asleep. Drooling. My main damage dealer was totally offline. What do we do next? Stick with me. We are diving into pure magic. I refused to manually throw fireballs like normal mages. I needed rest. Then Shiru reminded me that hitting level 10 meant unlocking my second basic skill. Right. That Earth Shield skill book my mom gave me yesterday. Oh, hyped up Shiru, calling him the absolute best S-rank Earth Affinity Mage in their special forces unit, and a top-tier Earth specialist in the whole city. Shiru tried acting modest, but totally failed to hide his pride. I activated the book. It dissolved into light and entered my body. Earth Shield learned, level 1. Now for the big question. I called out mentally, Little Earth, are you there? Nothing. Hello? Is anyone home? Absolute silence. The Earth Shield icon on my panel did not move at all. My heart sank instantly. Was my fireball the only skill capable of coming alive? Was this one broken, or just completely mute? Shiru noticed me zoning out and explained. He said earth elements are calm and stubborn, unlike fire, which instantly sparks. Working with earth always required serious patience. I brushed it off for now and took his advice. He told me to try casting the new shield. I stood up and finally activated it. A faint brown glow surrounded me, forming a semi-transparent magic barrier right in front of me. Watch closely now. Things get wild. It looked fragile enough for a breeze to break. Everyone traded glances, amazed. A beginner cast it instantly. Just holding a solid shape beat 90% of rookies, but it was incredibly weak. Shiru walked closer and gently tapped the magic barrier. He stayed totally polite about it, saying forming it at all was impressive for a beginner. Then his expert coaching began. He told me to stop stressing about defense and truly feel the ground. I needed to imagine pulling rock and soil into the shield, compressing and stacking it layer by layer. I closed my eyes and followed his advice, his mental energy carefully guiding my own. The shield color turned darker, still not incredible, but it actually looked like real armor. Shiru looked thrilled. He claimed, at this thickness, the shield could easily block a basic fireball from any mage at my level. He suggested a quick test. He would toss a tiny fireball to see how my barrier held. Yi Hongyu frowned at this, but Shiru promised to use the weakest fireball possible, so she retreated. He was a veteran mage with flawless control. Shiru stepped 10 meters back and summoned a tiny orange fireball in his palm. Nothing threatening, smaller than anything my fireball normally creates. But the exact second that flame appeared, my Earth Shield icon violently twitched. Then it started screaming, not a fierce battle cry, not a warrior shout, a high-pitched, totally panicked shriek. Danger, extreme danger, please do not come any closer. It was alive. I know what you are thinking. My new skill was alive and an absolute coward. It could talk. It just needed pure, sheer terror to finally speak up. When I first unlocked Earth Shield and called out to it, nothing happened. Silence. I tried every friendly greeting possible. Little Earth, hello, anyone there? Total silence. I assumed either my fireball was uniquely special, or this new skill was totally broken. Then Shiru summoned that ridiculously tiny practice flame, fist-sized, practically a harmless spark compared to my own fireballs. It was supposed to be a gentle test, a light tap, just letting me feel what blocking an attack meant. But when that tiny flame appeared, my Earth Shield went completely crazy. It started screaming like a completely terrified little animal. Danger! It is coming! That fire is going to burn us! I stared at the tiny fireball, then checked my panel. This crazy thing thought that little spark was absolute, total doom. But it got way crazier, depending on your perspective. The Earth Shield was so scared that it decided a thin barrier was not nearly enough protection for us. It started frantically pulling earth energy from deep underground. Desperate to construct something bigger, a shiny new notification appeared. Because my skill was extremely afraid of failing, it independently evolved right into an elementary rank skill, Earth Flow Wall. Instead of a tiny personal shield, it could instantly raise a massive wall of rock and dirt. 5-second cooldown timer. My fireball evolved because it was furiously angry and wanted to smash things. My earth skill evolved because it was terrified and wanted to hide. Absolutely incredible. Before I could even process this, Shiru called out asking if I was ready, always reassuring. Do not worry, your shield is strong. I will hold back. 14 years of experience. It will not wobble. I was not worried about myself getting hurt. I worried about what would happen to everyone else's sanity. Go right ahead, I finally replied. Shiro flicked the tiny fireball toward me. Slow, gentle, and harmless. The earth shield entered full-blown panic mode. It approaches. This is an ultimate strike. We are absolutely finished. Then it activated the brand new skill. The ground exploded. A deafening rumble violently shook the entire area. Oh screamed about an earthquake. Yi Hong Yu grabbed her daggers. Shiro froze, completely stunned. A giant rock wall erupted right in front of me, 5 meters tall, 10 wide. What do you and I take from this? Never underestimate a terrified magic skill. Stick with me here. See that massive fortress shadow covering everyone like a brand new mountain? That adorable little practice fireball drifted into the massive wall and just poofed out. 0 scorch marks left. Just a sad wisp of smoke curling up against the giant stone surface. Absolute silence. Oh kept mumbling how that thing definitely wasn't a normal shield. It was a whole fortification. Yi Hong Yu froze mid-attack, while Madare Shiro looked like his brain just crashed. This S-rank Earth expert who coached me seconds ago just stared at a rock wall far bigger than anything he could probably ever create. Built by a totally rookie mage who learned Earth skills 5 minutes ago. Meanwhile, the sentient Earth shield was trembling with sheer pride behind the wall, totally bragging about saving my life from that quote-unquote lethal attack. It kept claiming how close we came to getting wiped out, how that tiny spark was 10 meters away. It boasted that without its lightning-fast thinking, I'd be pure charcoal right now. I just stood behind the massive wall, looking up, and touched its rugged surface. Cold, rough, super solid rock. Honestly, it felt incredibly safe hiding back there. But seriously? All that for a tiny baby fireball? You built an entire castle wall. Could you try having just a shred of actual dignity as a combat skill? This was supposed to be a gentle training session, yet you made it look like full-blown siege preparation. Great. So now, I possess 2 sentient skills. One was a rage-fueled maniac wanting to burn absolutely everything alive. Now watch closely. This is where things get hilarious. My cowardly shield panicked over absolutely nothing, and all that loud rumbling finally woke up my sleeping fireball. It woke up super grumpy, instantly demanding to know who was making noise. Naturally, the earth shield completely panicked, hearing a strange voice, assuming an enemy attacked. I just sighed heavily. Guys, that is your big brother, Fireball. He's on our side. Relax. The fireball squinted at the giant newcomer very suspiciously. I have a little brother now? Since when exactly? It sniffed the air, noticed the faint trace of fire energy from Shu's tiny spark, and stared at the enormous wall. When I explained, someone just tossed a tiny flame and the earth shield built this massive giant wall. The fireball went completely dead silent for 3 seconds. Then it absolutely burst out laughing, calling the earth shield totally pathetic. Getting terrified over a tiny spark, it joked that if word escaped, it would be way too embarrassed to claim any relation. Real warriors don't hide in turtle shells. The earth shield quietly pushed back. Safety first. What if Master got hurt? The fireball sneered. You're simply a coward. Stop making lame excuses. The earth shield muttered under its breath. I never claimed you were my big brother anyway. I only have one big brother, and that is Master. You're just a dumb brute. What did you just say? Repeat that. I said, Master is simply the most handsome. I shut them both up by threatening to cancel the fireball's epic dragon meat dinner. Instant, absolute silence. The earth shield felt deeply impressed by my master level control. It decided it definitely picked the perfect master. I just walked out from behind the huge wall like nothing happened. I'm perfectly fine. Nice fireball, Shu. Didn't feel a thing. The 3 guys were just standing there, blankly staring at the wall. Oh, touched the impossibly hard, freezing stone. He slowly turned to Shiro. Just how long did it take you to learn Earthflow Wall? Shiro's face twitched hard. Before today, he totally would have bragged. But now, his voice came out super tiny. 5 days, plus a skill book. Nobody laughed. 5 days with S-rank Earth Affinity was actually genuinely fast. You and I know the truth, right? I went from learning basic shielding to dropping a perfect Earthflow Wall in 5 minutes flat. 0 affinity. 0 skill books. Shu examined the giant rock closely, confirming it was a totally flawless, elementary rank earth flow wall. The massive structure was so ridiculously solid, it could block strikes from someone 10 levels above my rank. He mumbled that if I claimed to be the earth god's secret child, he would absolutely believe it. Oh, and Yi Hong Yu slowly nodded along without a single trace of irony. Just last night, I was the fire god's reincarnation. Today, I'm the earth deity's secret son. Case completely closed. I was probably both their super overpowered illegitimate child. I scratched my head super awkwardly. Let's not spread that rumor. My dad is still alive, you know. Shu quickly apologized and completely changed the subject. He pointed out that while the earth flow wall is undeniably overpowered, it should drain absolutely massive amounts of my mental energy. He strongly suggested I use basic shields for ordinary strikes and save the giant wall for actual emergencies. I just nodded and agreed to be careful. Obviously, none of these skills actually cost me any mental energy, since they do everything themselves. But he doesn't need to know that. Suddenly, Yi Hong Yu's phone buzzed loudly. She checked the screen, her expression darkening instantly. Oh, and Shiru definitely noticed the heavy shift and dropped their smiles. She looked up, her voice super low and serious. Just got a report. Huge numbers of wild monsters are gathering at Sunset Canyon. A monster tide? You and I both know that sounds absolutely terrible. Trust me, things get crazy. I asked what it was, and Shiru explained. Basically, a special spatial disturbance drops into the wild, violently pulling every single monster within hundreds of kilometers straight toward its center. Trust me, this gets crazier the closer they get. Eventually, a massive wild boss spawns right in the center. The military locked down a 10-kilometer perimeter to ensure everyone's safety. Dad called Yi Hong Yu, ordering us to pack up fast. We were heading straight to Sunset Canyon, where the monster tide was forming, and he wanted me there. Oh, and Shiru were pretty worried. A monster tide is pure, dangerous chaos. But Yi Hong Yu pointed out the obvious facts. With the special forces and our insane skills, the risk was basically zero. With thousands of monsters swarming, if they just handed me weakened ones, I could easily hit level 15 in a single afternoon. Usually, jumping from 10 to 12 in one day is the limit. My two skills immediately started bickering about it. The earth shield rolled into a ball, begging me to stay. The fireball completely lost it, calling the shield a coward. It demanded we go turn the canyon into a sea of flames. Meanwhile, the earth shield meekly prioritized my safety. The fireball screamed at it to shut up. I told them both to chill before my brain melted. Looking at Yi Hong Yu. Oh, and a fully armed special forces squad. I figured we were totally fine. I will follow Yi Hong Yu's lead, I said. Then I added, bring the bed too. Absolute silence. Everyone was definitely wondering if I was a hard-working genius who trains while sleeping, or just some spoiled rich kid needing his luxury mattress. Yi Hong Yu did not even blink. No problem, we can bring your whole house too. 2 hours later, we hit Sunset Canyon. Now pay attention here. The sky was a creepy red, with military checkpoints locking down everything. The moment I stepped out of the car, someone called out. It was Xia Qing. She was training in the canyon before the monster tide alert kicked everyone out. I told her to stay safe, but definitely did not invite her. We weren't exactly best friends, and she could train elsewhere. She did not seem annoyed, just leaned in and dropped her voice. Linmo, the Zhao family contacted me last night. They offered me 3 million just to throw tomorrow's exam. Let Zhao take first place. Did you agree? I asked. She firmly shook her head. No, why? Not enough cash? She wrinkled her nose. It is not about money. I hate that family's massive arrogance. Especially Zhao. Total ego, zero actual skills. She looked at me super seriously. Plus, I know who the real powerhouse is. I would much rather be on your side. Even as a gesture, she is smart. She saw my true power in the dungeon. Between the Lin and Zhao families, the choice was incredibly obvious. I laughed and poked her forehead. You are honestly kind of dumb, you know? Turning down free cash. Do you really think you can beat me for first place? Her face turned completely red. I gave it to her straight. The Zhao family is just wasting their money. They think you carried that dungeon. Run. Just take the money. Fight normally. It changes nothing. If I go all out, neither gets first place. You and I both know I'm not joking around. She firmly nodded her head. Understood? She pulled out her phone and walked away. I smiled, feeling satisfied. Never reject free money. That is just basic common sense. Just then, an officer walked up. He told Yi Hongyu the Zhao forces had also arrived here. Some guy named Captain Jam wanted a word with her. Yi Hongyu frowned as Jiang Zhao finally showed his face. He was the Zhao family's most trusted captain, basically their version of Yi Hongyu. Thin, sunken eyes, and a super sketchy vibe overall. He tried making awkward small talk, but Yi Hongyu instantly shut it down. Just say what you need to say. A monster tide is coming. I have zero time for chit-chat. While they talked, his eyes drifted to the crazy scene behind me. My squad was setting up camp with my huge bed right in the middle. Maids prepped fruit bowls, while a chef fired up a grill for a battlefield barbecue. Jiang Zhao aggressively twitched. He has seen rich kids training before, but absolutely nobody moves their entire bedroom to the front line of a monster invasion. He dropped a snide comment about my epic setup, mocking how I treated a severe crisis like a tropical vacation. Deep down, he definitely thought I was an empty shell with high stats, lacking any real combat skills or battle experience. Yi Hongyu whipped out a knife, threatening to literally sew his mouth shut. He backed away instantly. His actual offer was surprisingly reasonable. Split the canyon completely. Zhao's team takes the west side. Our squad takes the east. No fighting over targets, absolutely zero drama. As for the wild boss spawning in the center, whoever spots it and lands the very first hit claims it entirely. Standard rules. Yi Hongyu looked back to check with me. I casually shrugged. Sounded totally fair. Everyone does their own thing. The boss goes to whoever earns it. He judged my barbecue setup one last time, shook his head, and left. Stick with me. The real action starts now. Stick with me here. He totally thought I was useless. Meanwhile, Zhao's camp had a completely different vibe. Pure business over there. Hundreds of soldiers locked in formation. Very serious. Xiao Yu got the call. Sean actually took the 3 million and promised not to chase the top exam. Spot. Smart girl. She actually listened. Xiao Yu's squad mocked her, calling her a total fake for grabbing the cash. Xiao Yu was just mad his dad wasted the money. He assumed that abyssal dungeon we cleared was super easy. How else did a rank water mage win? He completely brushed the whole epic victory off. His squad kept kissing up, hyping how his multi-burst fireball splits into 5. They claimed nobody could touch his S-rank talent. 3 million wasted on a dog, they joked. 5 fireballs? How cute. Try 15, buddy. When Zhang Zhao returned and reported the wild setup at my camp, the huge bed, the personal maids, the barbecue, Zhao Yu's team lost their minds laughing. They called me a spoiled kid playing soldier. Zhao was slightly nicer. He figured I could maybe scrape into the top 10 just by using a cheap level advantage. Then he got nostalgic about our old rivalry before awakening. Back in school, our scores were completely neck and neck. But now, he had an S-rank fire affinity, and I was just a blank slate. Mage. Now pay attention, because he thought we were in totally different leagues. Now, treating me like competition insulted his talent. He had zero clue. Meanwhile, I was literally chilling on my massive bed right inside a military base, resting on luxury pillows, while a maid fed me chilled, freshly peeled crystal grapes flown in today. I tossed her a fat tip, and suddenly she was super thrilled about her future grape peeling career. This was insanely rich, totally ridiculous, and I loved it. Earthshield trembled, begging to go home because monsters were too scary. Fireball instantly told it to shut up. Free food, cute girls, and endless monster hunting. Absolute paradise. Why leave? I told the shield to relax. These were my elite guards. A tiny monster swarm meant nothing. Yi Hongyu brought Shiru and Du over for a briefing. Nobody cared that I was happily munching grapes. To them, my insane, genius-level talent made this lazy vibe look like absolute boss energy, not just slacking off. She opened a map. Monsters from hundreds of kilometers away were rushing the canyon. Wave 1, just basic trash mobs, levels 1 through 10. Next, level 25 giant bears, and level 30 flying serpents. Finally, level 40 storm hawks flying in from the massive northern thunder peak. Super fast with deadly lightning strikes. The boss would spawn right around then. Shrew warned that hunting monsters 10 levels above me would just ruin my total experience points gain. Plus, with that huge gap, my damage drops to 0. The plan was super simple. I know what you're thinking. VIP treatment, right? They weaken early mobs for my final blow, then delete the high-level flyers themselves for safety. I agreed. Safety first. But the boss was the real prize. Command guest level 25 to 40. Even with the penalty, soloing a heavy boss means massive experience, easily skyrocketing my rank up to level 16 or 17. Most exam rivals were stuck at level 10. A lucky few hit 15. Level 16 leaves everyone in the dust. The real trick was finding the boss. Yi Hongyu explained that elemental mages can sense matching bosses. If it's an earth boss, Shiru's S-rank affinity picks it up instantly. If it was a fire boss, Zhao's team would feel it. As a blank slate mage, I should be completely blind. But then I checked my crazy skill panel. Fireball's nose was sharper than a hunting dog when it came to tracking fire energy, and Earth Shield was so unbelievably paranoid. It could probably sense danger from miles away out of pure terror. Looks like I wasn't so handicapped after all. A scout sprinted in. First wave incoming. Wasteland wolves and blade rabbits. 3 kilometers out, Yi Hongyu flipped to battle mode, sending Shiru east or west. While she guarded me, everyone scrambled. Fireball practically vibrated with insane joy. Endless killing all night. More fighting today. Plus, gourmet food. It called itself the luckiest skill ever. Claiming forbidden spell status was just around the corner. Earth Shield shook in the corner, calling Fireball a lunatic. Time for some fun. Hey, Fireball, since you're so thrilled, how about calling me daddy again? Complete silence on the panel. I already did yesterday. Oh, you have dignity? Well, you and I know how this ends. Potato dinner it is. Stick with me here. The Earth Shield perked right up. Yay, I love potatoes. Then, 2 whole seconds of silence. Then, absolute humiliation. Daddy. Meanwhile, on the other side of the canyon, Zhao Yu was pushing incredibly hard. My scouts reported later that he was out there personally battling wild wolves, splitting his multi-burst fireball into 5 copies, chugging mana potions, completely sweating right through his robes. His teammates kept praising his 5-split fireball like it was the absolute greatest thing ever. Plus, he sent someone to spy on me. The scout reported I was literally lounging in bed watching movies while a maid fed me fruit. They also noticed a massive dirt wall had appeared, completely blocking their view. Zhao Yu just assumed Shiru built it as an overprotective safety measure. He laughed, calling me a totally lost cause. Said he was embarrassed he ever considered me a rival. Then he returned to screaming about wanting more enemies. Meanwhile, inside my little fortress, 3 tall earth flow walls surrounded my bed, exactly like epic castle ramparts. Inside, I was lying down, happily sipping iced watermelon juice, while a maid held up a tablet, playing a super hilarious comedy movie. Yi Hongyu stood on top of the wall like a sentinel, scanning for threats. My fireball was furious. They kept throwing in 1 enemy at a time, deeply insulting it. 1? Just 1? I finally said, I want 10. I called up to Yi Hongyu, asking her to send 15 at once. She hesitated. She had never seen my multi-burst fireball, worrying about the immense danger of dumping that many enemies inside my walls at once. But I told her I would take full responsibility. She shouted the order, 15. All at once, the outside soldiers paused, then launched 15 weakened enemies over the wall simultaneously. Yi Hongyu tightened her grip on her dagger, completely ready to jump down and save me if anything went wrong. Now pay attention. 1 fireball launched from my bed, shuddered in midair, then split apart. 5, 10, 15 individual fireballs, each one perfectly locking onto a different enemy, still falling through the air. 15 massive explosions. 15 instant defeats. Nothing landed safely. Yi Hongyu stood completely frozen on the wall. She knew about my precise single target control, but this was something else entirely. 15 simultaneous tracking fireballs, each hitting a different moving target. She knew Zhao Yu's biggest claim to fame was splitting into just 4 or 5. I had just launched 15 without even sitting up. She murmured that the Zhao family's so-called S-rank genius was not fit to carry my shoes. Down below, had not moved, still lying on my side, still watching my movie. The fireball was screaming with pure delight, calling it art, demanding more. The earth shield was crying, what if one gets through? What if you miss? This is way too dangerous. Master, please, fewer enemies. The fireball turned on it instantly. You dare question my amazing abilities? The earth shield squeaked. I was not talking to you. I was talking to Master. I had to step in before they actually started fighting on my skill panel. Earth shield, just trust your big brother. He is reckless, but his aim is perfect. Fireball, ease up on your little brother. He is just trying to keep me safe. Both of them huffed. Their icons turned away from each other on the panel, going back to back, refusing to talk. I know what you are thinking. Being a mage here is way harder than anyone thinks. Forget fighting those monsters. I spend half my energy mediating family drama between my own skills. The afternoon just flew by. The special forces kept throwing batches of weakened enemies over the walls, and the fireball kept obliterating them. I hit level 15. Then, the final wave arrived. The scouts reported a massive flock of thunderstorm hawks, level 35 and above. Thousands of them, blotting out the sky like a massive purple storm cloud. Each had a 3-meter wingspan with lightning crackling between its feathers. Yi Hong Yu told me to sit this one out. The level gap was too big. I could not do meaningful damage, and the experience would barely register anyway. She would handle it. Fine by me. I leaned back and closed my eyes. The earth shield was totally losing its mind. It had just noticed something absolutely horrifying. Our fortress had walls, but no roof. We are open from above. What if one FLIs in? We need to run. The fireball told it to shut up. So what if they are level 35? Anything entering here gets wiped out. The earth shield wailed. You are only 15. They are 35. Stop bluffing. I told them both to be quiet. Yi Hong Yu's team was handling it, and we still needed to wait for the boss to spawn. Outside, it was absolute chaos. The sky turned into a massive fireworks show as dozens of soldiers launched skills upward. Explosive arrows, wind blades, ice spikes, everything. The hawks were incredibly smart, though. They dodged, dove, circled, and shot lightning bolts back down. There were just too many of them. Then one finally broke through. An elite rank storm hawk, way bigger than the rest, wreathed in thick lightning, blasted past 3 wind blades and an explosive arrow. It took a minor hit, but barely slowed down. It cracked the sound barrier, diving straight at my bed. Trust me, we absolutely must see what happens next. Let's dive into this madness. Yi Hong Yu saw it, but was totally pinned fighting to flanking hawks. She yelled out, but could not reach me. The earth shield cried inside my head. It warned me the top was not safe. I just stayed completely calm. With elite soldiers surrounding me, there was zero chance that bird would touch me. Shu totally proved me right. His eyes went incredibly wide. He roared loudly. A massive stone spike, thick as a bull, erupted right from the ground, skewering the hawk through its chest mid-dive. It just hung suspended in the air like a giant kebab, dust raining down the stone. He wiped his face and grinned brightly at me. Did not scare you, did I? I happily gave him a thumbs up. Rock solid, for sure. But that close call totally broke my earth shield. It started totally spiraling. Too close. Way too close. What if he was 1 second slower? The walls are useless without a ceiling, but how do I make one? Earth flow wall shoots straight up, bending at exactly 90 degrees to seal the top. I simply cannot. It is way too hard. The fireball mocked. You are a coward. You are a totally useless coward. The poor earth shield was practically crying, desperately trying to figure out how to build an earth magic roof and failing. I could not handle the whining anymore. Without thinking, I blurted, "Are you stupid? If you cannot seal the top, just go underground." The earth shield completely froze. Then it lit up like a bright bulb. Oh, right. I made a really terrible mistake. I opened my big mouth. When I told the earth shield to just go underground instead of building a roof, I was joking. Just a totally casual, simple throwaway comment. I did not mean, "Please drag me into the dirt right now." But the earth shield took it as absolute divine inspiration. It went into massive overdrive, shouting about how I was a genius, how nobody could hurt me below, How? It just needed to liquefy rocks and create a pocket space beneath the surface. I sat up panicking. Wait, I need oxygen. There is absolutely zero air underground. I will literally perish. Do you understand? Game over. It was not listening. My concerns were just more brilliant hints. Oxygen? So easy. Carve out a hollow space and pop up occasionally to completely refresh the fresh air. Do not blink. This is huge. My panel glowed. Earth Shield evolved into Earth Dive, merging into the ground and moving freely, carrying nearby objects right along with it. More mental energy meant it simply lasted longer. A 15-minute cooldown. Before I could say a single word of protest, the ground beneath me turned super soft. My custom bed started sinking fast. The maid beside me reached out to grab me, but caught absolutely nothing. I looked up, watching the sky circle shrinking rapidly, and her terrified face getting much smaller. Oh, no, no, no. The earth swallowed me whole, bed, and everything. Then the ground sealed tightly shut above me like nothing happened. I was stuck underground in total darkness on my bed, because my own skill literally kidnapped me. Up on the surface, things were officially going totally crazy. The Stormhawks were mostly cleared out, and Shu felt something very important. A massive earth element disturbance rumbling deep underground. As an S-rank Earth Mage, he instantly recognized it. The wild boss was an Earth type, and it was absolutely about to spawn. He could track it by following the underground flow of Earth energy right to its center. He and Yi Hongyu turned around to tell me their plan. He would use his Earth dive to carry us underground to find the boss. Except I was totally gone. The huge bed was gone. Just flat, undisturbed ground where I was lying 2 seconds ago. Yi Hongyu almost completely lost it. She jumped off the 5-meter wall, landing perfectly in front of the maid. Where is the young master? The maid stammered, pointing down. He just fell. The dirt turned into water, and he just sank with the bed. Then it completely closed up. Shu crouched down, pressing his hands to the ground. A few seconds later, he looked up, pale as a ghost. It is Earth. Dive. His brain was totally shorting out. I learned Earth Shield this morning, then Earth Flow Wall within 5 minutes. Now, Earth Dive on the exact same day. You saw that, right? 3 Earth skills, 2 being elementary rank evolutions. All mastered today by a blank slate mage with 0 Earth affinity. But what truly broke him was the weight. My custom bed was solid wood, at least 300 or 400 kilograms. His own Earth Dive could only carry about 120 kilos. I took the entire bed down with me on my absolute first try. And the craziest part for Shu, I had sensed the Earth boss forming underground way before he even did. I already evolved a brand new skill and dove down solo with my bed, apparently so confident that I did not even need any backup at all. He stood there in pure awe of my supreme genius arrogance. When Yi Hongyu snapped him out of it. Stop daydreaming. Take me down there now. If anything bad happens to him, right, grab on. They aggressively dove underground after me. Meanwhile, I was lying in the pitch dark on my bed, deep beneath the earth, dragged through solid rock by a skill that was finally happy. Because, for the first time ever, it felt truly and completely safe. That is where we leave it, hoping to keep breathing. I seriously need to teach this crazy Earth Shield some basic listening skills. This underground ride, total nightmare. My fancy luxury bed literally turned into a wild raft surfing through molten rock and dirt. Stick with me here. We're bouncing off boulders, spinning through mud, pulled deeper underground by an insane, invisible current. The fireball skill kept screaming about the awful driving. Are you blind? That massive rock was right there. We hit it. Bam. Another hit. What kind of trash ride is this? The Earth Shield was sobbing. There's a huge pull dragging us down. I completely lost control. I just hugged my bed frame for dear life, totally wrapped in blankets, trying so hard not to hurl. 5 minutes ago, I was eating grapes. Now, I was on a wild theme park ride right through the Earth's crust. Suddenly, the narrow tunnel opened wide, and a massive underground current grabbed us. The Earth Shield screamed that we were launching. We launched up like a crazy geyser. The ground above exploded, and my bed flew 10 meters high before finally crashing back down. The Earth Shield's protection stopped my bed from breaking and saved me. Still, every single bone in my body felt completely rearranged. I crawled out of my blankets, coughing up dust, you little jerk. Then I felt it. An absolutely crushing wave of pressure directly above me. I slowly looked up. A 10-meter giant, made entirely of black obsidian and red-hot lava, was staring right down at me. Molten rock flowed across its body like fiery energy. Its millstone-sized eyes glowed a violently bright red. Gao Viane Lava Titan, Lord Rank Boss, level 40. I was level 15, a 25 level gap. Watch this part carefully. I popped out of the ground at its feet like a delivery package. This is your hiding spot? I yelled at the earth shield. It was sobbing so hard. I didn't know. The pull led here. This was totally game over. It tried activating Earth Dive to drag us back underground. Cooldown? 15 minutes. The fireball was naturally thrilled though. 40 levels. So what? I'm destined to be a forbidden spell. Everything in my path turns to ash. Gods fall. Buddhas perish. It shot a fireball before I could even stop it. The explosion hit the Titan square in the chest, but did basically nothing. A scratch. Less than a scratch, really. The world's most insulting tickle. But it made the Titan very, very angry. It raised a massive car-sized foot, lava boiling underneath, and brought it crashing down toward me. I couldn't run, couldn't even hide underground. Only one real option here. Something snapped inside me. Fine, we fight. Fireball, attack. I raised my hand, charging up the explosive spiral dragon shot. Maximum compression, maximum spin. The dark red beam screamed into the Titan's huge body, actually forcing it back one step. But that was it. The level gap was just too enormous. Earth Shield. The Earth Shield was terrified beyond words, but it loved me way more than it feared being destroyed. A massive wall erupted from the ground, perfectly shielding me from the Titan's counterattack. Then, heard two familiar voices. Young Master, finally caught up. Shiru and Yi Hongyu came tearing toward me at full speed. Shiru's eyes were wide red, veins popping across his strong arms. Touch my young master, and you're finished. The ground exploded. Dozens of enormous stone spears shot up from below, piercing the Titan from every single angle like a pincushion. In seconds, that level 40 Lord Boss dropped to 1 health. Young master, finish it. 1 fireball. Clean hit. Vanquished. 78,000 experience points. Level 17. After everything totally settled, Shiru and Yi Hongyu looked at me with pure worship. You know exactly what they're thinking, right? They found me, a level 15 mage, fearlessly facing a level 40 Lord Boss, totally alone. I'd even hit it hard enough to push it back. They thought I'd tracked it underground alone and dove down to challenge it, bringing nothing but my fancy bed. In their eyes, this was the absolute ultimate display of fearless warrior spirit. A legendary man who would charge straight at a god. In reality, my panicking earth shield accidentally delivered me straight into the boss's lap like a hot pizza. And yeah, I screamed the entire way down. But sure, fearless warrior spirit, let's go with that. After the dust finally settled, Yi Hongyu checked me over. Beside messy hair, I was perfectly fine. Then came the lecture. Young master, you were way too reckless this time. Shiru chimed in, all serious. I get that you have a warrior's pride and want to push limits, fighting solo, but this was literally a level 40. Lord Boss, sir, you really should have told us first, instead of diving down here entirely solo. Warrior's pride? I was totally kidnapped by my own skill. I was just lying in bed eating grapes, swallowed by the ground completely against my will. But at this point, what could I even say? I just had to own it. I dusted off my sleeves and smiled calmly. I sensed the boss from my bed, suddenly figured out Earth Dive, got a bit excited, and just tried it out. The underground current pulled me straight here before I could even stop. Won't happen again. They looked at each other, so visibly moved. In their heroic minds, I was a level 15 mage willingly charging a level 40 Lord Boss alone, then humbly apologizing to my loyal subordinates afterward. So what do we learn here? While they teared up over my noble vibe, I was mentally destroying the Earth Shield. Stick with me here. One more mistake like that, and you never dig underground without my absolute permission. Try that nonsense again, and my fireball will literally bake you into a solid ceramic tile. The fireball gleefully agreed to help with tile making. Meanwhile, the Earth Shield sobbed uncontrollably, promising with everything it had to never dive unapproved again. Suddenly, the nearby ground violently cracked open, and two extremely filthy figures crawled out. It was Zhao Yu and his Earth Mage escort, absolutely covered in thick mud. Zhao Yu spat out sand and glanced around. His eyes locked onto the giant pile of rubble behind us. The defeated boss. His face twisted completely. I smirked. Hey, Zhao Yu, interesting style you have going. Rough commute? He glared at the fallen boss, barely holding back his anger. A level 40 lord boss worth massive experience. And we grabbed it. He muttered that I was just a rich kid with inflated levels, but zero actual combat skills. Only leveling up because my family spoofed me every victory. Then he furiously stormed off without another word. Shu spat on the ground nearby. What a sore loser, blaming the boss for having the wrong element. Even if it was a fire type, our young master would win easily. Yi Hong Yu agreed coldly. That boy is far too petty to ever succeed. Suddenly, both my skills started acting up wildly. The fireball was sniffing the air with pure excitement, talking about a delicious smell, the scent of epic power. The earth shield was swooning too, murmuring about comforting earth energy. Both reacting. Now watch closely, something amazing dropped from the boss. Let us check it out. We approached and found a glowing object radiating red and golden light. Shuru took one single look and nearly fainted. A chaos lava heart. Yi Hong Yu completely lost her composure. A dual element treasure, fire and earth. If I am correct, this is the very first one found nationwide this year. Shuru was visibly shaking. The insane luck here. Yan Yu smacked the back of his head. Watch your mouth. If I had this kind of ridiculous luck, I would happily become a loyal pet dog. I picked up the drop and checked its stats. Chaos Lava Heart. Legendary rank. It contains the absolute, purest essence of fire and earth elements. An incredibly rare dual attribute treasure. So, what is this actually used for anyway? I asked. He slapped his thighs so hard they probably bruised. Young master, this is not just useful, it is priceless. This is exactly what you need to learn. Combination skills. I blinked. Combination skills? Shuru explained that combination skills meant fusing two different elements together, creating an ultimate super skill with both properties. Only the absolute top fighters worldwide could pull it off. You need high rank affinity into elements, which practically nobody in this world had. Only incredibly rare hidden classes, like Thunderflame mages with dual S rank affinities, even qualified to try. But the key ingredient was a rare material exactly like this one. Without it, learning any combination skill was completely impossible. And let that sink in for a second. This specific fire and earth treasure was the first one found nationwide this year. If this thing hit the market, every single top fighter in the nation would fight over it. Shuru mentioned that the lava giant beast heart they gave the city exam champion was just a single element version of this exact material. Mine was much rarer with two elements. Then my skills threw tantrums. The fireball stubbornly refused to cooperate with that coward on any combined technique. The earth shield declared it wanted absolutely nothing to do with that brute either. I ignored them both. They are my skills, so they get no vote. Shuru kept talking, warning me that even with this material, the success rate remained low. He advised waiting until I reached a much higher level, possessing a deeply profound understanding of both magical elements before attempting it. Snap! He stopped completely. Both he and Yi Hong Yu turned to stare at my hands. I had already crushed the item. Red and golden energy was flowing through my fingers into my body. Oops! My hands just moved way too fast. Shuru looked like he was suffering a heart attack. A priceless, one-of-a-kind national treasure, and I just casually consumed it at level 17 like a piece of candy. But inside my skill panel, wild things were happening. The Chaos Lava Heart practically shoved the fireball and the earth shield into the same room, forcing them to painfully work together. The fireball was screaming about sand everywhere. Meanwhile, the earth shield shrieked that everything was way too hot. They violently fought, argued, and aggressively ground against each other. Then the epic notification arrived. I successfully learned a fire-earth combination skill. Lava War Armor. It coated my entire body in molten core. Lava, forming an absolutely indestructible suit of armor. All stats massively boosted. Every physical attack carries bonus fire damage. 5-minute duration. A 1-hour cooldown. Normal people struggle with combination skills because perfectly balancing two opposing elements requires incredible precision. But my skills had brains. Trust me, watching them automatically find the perfect fusion point through sheer instinct was something you and I will never forget. Let's dive right in. I didn't even try, though my skills were totally complaining. Fireball hated the ugly armor, yelling that only absolute cowards hide behind shields. Earth Shield whined that being wrapped in bright flames ruined its stealth entirely. Neither of them wanted it. I didn't care at all. Boom. Activated. A massive heatwave blasted outward, knocking the other's way back. Pitch black obsidian plates locked onto my body, glowing lava surging through the cracks. The sheer heat distorted the air. I looked like a legendary boss stepping straight out of a volcano. Checking myself out, I clenched my glowing fist. Unbelievable. It looked epic. But honestly, close combat sounded super exhausting. I just use it for defense while tossing fireballs from the backline. Way easier. Meanwhile, Shuru and Yi Hong Yu shared completely shocked looks. To them, overpowered abilities were just falling right into my lap for free. Just click and claim. Yi Hong Yu finally snapped out of it, suggesting we head home since it was late. With exams tomorrow and this crazy lava armor, I was basically guaranteed to crush the whole tournament. Time to rest up. I agreed instantly. I was completely starving. Fireball started loudly demanding premium dragon liver and flame rhino meat, while Earthshield quietly asked if we had any of that ancient aged rock marrow around. Smart little guys. They totally dropped the armor argument and went straight into demanding a fancy dinner. Gotta respect that hustle. Fine, you both get whatever you crave. I was in a great mood. Yi Hong Yu ordered our ride back, already stressing over how to explain today's wild events to my folks. You're going to want to hear this part. She had way too much insane stuff to report. The flowing earth wall, earth diving, accidentally battling a massive level 40 boss, scoring the entire country's first dual element treasure this year, and instantly unlocking an impossible combination skill at my current level. Just a casual Tuesday for our family's so-called useless blank slate mage. We finally arrived back at the massive mansion incredibly late. The maids bowed perfectly in a row. Mom rushed right over, grabbing my hands and worrying about my messy hair and super dusty clothes. I promised her it was perfectly fine, just sleepy. She quickly sent me upstairs for a warm bath and a relaxing massage before we ate. Sinking deep into the steaming water of my private tub, I let out a massive sigh. Two maids carefully scrubbed me down, working all the tension right out of my muscles. I gave them a nice tip. They mentioned some brand new massage technique they just learned, calling it something super grand. Taming the raging waters? I honestly had absolutely zero idea what that even meant. But whatever. This right here, absolute peak luxury. Every exhausting battle was totally worth it just for this exact moment. But let's pause for a second. Downstairs, things were getting super intense as Yi Hong Yu dropped the crazy news. I found out later that Dad was so shocked he fumbled his cigar, tossed it aside, and just nervously lit a brand new one. Mom was literally counting on her fingers, completely overwhelmed. In just 3 days since Waker, my powers, I had mastered explosive multi-burst fireballs, that fierce spiral dragon shot, plus amazing earth moves like the flowing wall and dive. And capping it off, an epic fire and earth fusion called Lava War Armor. 5 epic skills total, including one that only absolute legendary prodigies could supposedly even try learning. Dad realized something huge. As a blank slate mage nearing level 20, I could learn a third basic element really soon. Every 10 levels means a brand new power. Normal mages are locked to a single element forever. But me? I mastered 2 totally different elements without any natural affinity. He stared right at Mom. Our boy already conquered fire and earth. If his third element is just as easy, how unstoppable will he get? Mom tried staying calm. That is completely impossible, right? Being gifted in 2 is already a massive miracle. 3 would be. Dad cut her off immediately. You are missing the bigger picture. He is a total blank slate. Having 0 affinity actually means absolutely 0 limitations. If he pulls this off with fire and earth, he could literally master every single element out there. Mom started breathing really fast. Are you saying our kid could become an all-element archmage? That is unheard of in history. Yi Hong Yu stood there listening, and even she got absolute chills. The strongest mage in all of recorded history only ever managed 3 elements, and one was super mediocre. If I kept leveling up like this, Mom took a deep breath. She decided my 3rd skill should be whatever I wanted. With my kind of insane talent, they shouldn't restrict my choices at all, just full support. Dad completely agreed. Mom finally stood up, telling everyone to get me down for dinner. I had been battling all day long and had to be starving. She was totally right. After that epic bath and massage, a massive meal was the only thing on my mind. Well, mine and my loud skills. Trust me, you and I both know this dinner is going to be absolutely incredible. Stick with me. You and I are about to watch him absolutely devour this epic top-tier feast. His fireball skill was literally in heaven. Even his earth shield happily munched away through him, sighing over that earthy flavor, while his mom kept begging him to slow down. Once completely stuffed, his dad actually brought up his 3rd basic skill. Hitting level 20 was approaching super fast, meaning a brand new skill slot. He had totally been thinking about this. In every past life novel he read, the peak mage hierarchy always featured light and dark. If he learned one of those, maybe he could forge another wild combination skill. Can he try light or dark? He asked them. His parents immediately exchanged an uncomfortable look. Mom explained first. Light and dark were undeniably the strongest elements, but insanely dangerous. Those rare skill books were strictly controlled by the national government, never sold publicly. But importantly, without the matching affinity, these raw elements could completely destroy you. Dad spelled it out clearly. With normal elements, 0 affinity just means weaker skills or failed learning. But light elements without holy light affinity, your body instantly bursts when it enters you. Dark elements without dark affinity shatter your mind, turning you into a completely mindless destruction machine. He said maybe past level 100, when his body was strong enough to resist elemental invasion, he could try, but right now, absolutely not. A massive chill ran down his spine. He wanted to get stronger, not get wiped out completely. Okay, forget he even asked. Mom visibly relaxed, suggesting lightning instead. It was the next rarest element after light and dark, boasting explosive power and incredible speed. Now pay attention here. Those skill books cost a fortune, but money wasn't an issue. Lightning? He loved that idea. Who doesn't dream of controlling thunder? His fireball instantly started trash talking. It proudly called fire the undisputed king of all elements, claiming lightning was just random noise belonging at the kids' table. It completely ranted about how a disappearing flash couldn't ever compare to eternal flames. He simply threatened to cancel its fire dragon liver. Total instant silence. Mom, he'll confidently go with lightning. It's cool enough. She smiled warmly, saying she'd have the skill book delivered to his room tonight. Then he casually asked if they had any fire and earth skill books lying around, specifically in immediate or advanced levels. He was super curious what would happen if he fed skill books to his sentient skills. Would they learn from them? Evolve much faster? Mom cheerfully said they had plenty and would send them up too. He headed upstairs, resting before tomorrow's massive exam. After he left, his parents apparently had another private conversation. You and I both know what's coming. Mom brought up the Dragon Sequence class at Tianlong Academy, the country's most elite school program ever. It strictly accepted students with SS ranked talent or above, and that was just the minimum threshold. Their exam performance also had to be totally exceptional. Dad hesitated. He nervously noted their city only produced 1S rank talent this year. Zhao Yu, the Dragon Sequence class required SS minimum. Mom sharply cut him off. Who's talking about Zhao Yu? That kid? You think she'd make special arrangements for him? She's talking about their son. Are you actually telling me his talent is less than SS rank? Are you blind? Dad literally shrank in his seat. No, of course not. He just worried the recruiter might not appreciate what he's seeing. Mom's eyes narrowed dangerously. Her son is getting into that class. Call your old classmate who works as their academy recruiter. Drag him here if you have to. Yes, dear. He'll call right away. Back in his room, the floor was entirely covered with incredibly expensive skill books. Fire and earth types, absolutely all grades. Sitting cross-legged in the center, excited to try something. He grabbed a mid-tier fire skill book called Blazing Fire Pillar, $50,000 worth. Great skill. It shoots high-pressure fire columns directly from the ground, combined with earth flow while trapping enemies. He could basically cook monsters like clay pot chicken. Learn. The book literally dissolved into red light, smoothly entering his body. His fireball, which had been napping, saw that incoming energy and completely lost control. It pounced on the light like a starving wolf, devouring it whole. Learning failed. Instead of gaining a brand new skill, all his existing fire skills immediately got a massive proficiency boost. He stared at the notification, a $50,000 skill book, and it only leveled up his existing skills. In this world, skill proficiency is a totally brutal grind. Normal people need thousands of repetitions to gain one single level. Most people at his stage only have skills around level 5. Reaching level 10 makes you a hardcore grinder, but his skills just jumped way up from eating one book. The boost was nice, sure, but he genuinely wanted to learn the actual new skill. You ate a $50,000 book just for proficiency points? He yelled. The fireball burped innocently. It smelled too good. It couldn't help it. He firmly threatened to cut off all its food permanently. It panicked and begged. He grabbed Flame Ring. If you eat this, no more meat. Trust me, you're going to want to see what happens next. The fireball was physically trembling, desperately trying to restrain itself. Its eyes were going completely bloodshot. Stick with me here. It lasted 3 seconds before its territorial instinct kicked in. Swallowing it. Learning completely failed. More proficiency gain. All fire skills jumped higher. I was absolutely furious. The fireball practically cried, swearing it truly could not control itself. Just pure instinct. That is when the Earth Shield jumped in to be a massive snitch. Master, it is doing that on purpose. It has zero respect for you. I would never do something like that. I am good. I decided to test that bold claim. All right. You are so obedient. Here is an Earth Spike manual. Learn it properly. Show your older brother how it is done. The Earth Shield puffed up with confidence. No problem, Master. The fireball watched nervously. If the Earth Shield actually learned new skills, it would look completely terrible by comparison. And there goes that premium dragon treat forever. I activated the manual. Brown light entered my body. The Earth Shield lasted exactly 0 seconds. The exact instant it felt another Earth presence trying to establish dominance. Every single bit of restraint completely evaporated. It devoured the Earth Spike manual whole. Learning failed. Earth skill proficiency instantly shot up across the board. Total silence. Then the fireball burst into hysterical laughter. So much for being the good one. You ate it even faster than me. And you actually had the nerve to lecture me. The Earth Shield sat in the panel corner, staring in pure shock, looking like it committed an absolutely unforgivable crime. I did not yell today. I thought calmly, asking the Earth Shield if it genuinely could not control itself. It answered through heavy tears that no, it really could not. Now watch closely. My sentient skills had become literal territorial monarchs of their element. Each one ruled its domain inside me. Any matching element manual was seen as an invader trying to establish a rival kingdom, and their instinct to devour it was completely involuntary. But a totally different element, like lightning, had no existing monarch. So, brand new element manuals should work just fine. This meant I could never learn new fire or earth skills through manuals. The trade-off was instantly maxing out my proficiency by throwing money instead of grinding for months. I decided to embrace it. I shoved every single remaining manual at my 2 skills and let them feast. 10 minutes later, a status panel was absolutely beautiful. Every single skill, all 7 of them, hit level 17, perfectly matching my current level cap, and totally maxed out. Something that takes normal people months or years of constant practice. I accomplished in one single evening with a giant pile of cash. I stared at the basic lightning strike manual sitting on my nightstand. Still 3 full levels away from actually being able to learn it. You and I know lightning is rare, famous for the absolute highest burst damage, and the fastest attack speed. I wondered what kind of personality my 3rd skill would have. Hopefully not another crazy maniac or total coward. But knowing my wild luck, it would probably be something equally ridiculous. I woke up feeling amazing. Best sleep in days. Checked my panel. Level 17, 92%. The fireball was out grinding all night again without me knowing. It was exhausted but smug, bragging about wiping out an entire zone of monsters. Status showed post-rampage calm mode. I went downstairs for breakfast humming a happy tune. Mom and Dad were already at the table, but today, they were completely dressed up. Dad wore his full military dress uniform covered in shiny metals, looking like he was preparing to invade a country. Mom wore an elegant black dress with her hair styled up. What is with the fancy outfits? Getting promoted to city governor? I totally joked. Dad gave me a sharp look. Today is the big exam, genius. The whole city is watching. I am a chief examiner. Did you think I would show up in pajamas? Mom handed me a bowl of blazing beef porridge, saying to eat up. This big exam takes serious stamina. Then Dad mentioned something very interesting. A special recruiter from the Dragon Sequence class at Tianlong Academy would be attending today. He wanted me to impress the guy. I asked what was so special about it. Dad laid it all out. Millions take the national exam every year. Just getting into Tianlong Academy at all makes you 1 in 10,000. The Dragon Sequence class accepts fewer than 20 students total from the entire country every single year. Getting in basically drops you right into the national elite. You even get special authority to act on your own judgment while still in school. That actually sounded incredibly cool. I told them I would make them proud. Mom smoothed my collar and told me not to stress. They would love me no matter what. Then they headed out early to set up at the exam site. At the command center, things were getting interesting. Dad's old college classmate, Su Chong, the Dragon Sequence recruiter, was already there, looking highly skeptical. You dragged me all the way from the capital. If this turns out to be nothing, I am never forgiving you, Su Chong firmly said. Dad just smiled mysteriously. When have I ever let you down? My son is the absolute real deal. Trust me on this. If your class passes on him, it is the biggest mistake of your career, a loss for the nation. Stick with me, guys. This gets crazy. Then Zhao Lei arrived, spotting Sun Chong, his eyes totally lighting up. He figured the recruiter was there just for his S rank. Son, Zhao Yu. He had absolutely no idea Dad invited him. When Zhao Lei realized Dad actually brought the recruiter, he just cracked up laughing. He totally accused Dad of pulling strings or cheating somehow. Because what could some blank slate mage possibly show? A Dragon Sequence recruiter? Dad didn't even bother looking up from his tea. Your problem, Zhao, is thinking way too small. That is exactly why you never caught up to me, and your son will not catch mine. Zhao's face instantly went totally dark, but he recovered fast. He turned toward Su Wang, loudly bragging about Zhao Yu's S rank, fire affinity, his crazy intense training, and polished skills. Su Chong just gave this polite, fake smile. S rank fire mage is cool, but the Dragon Sequence class analyzes absolutely everything. Let's just watch and see. Zhao Lei leaned back, secretly, absolutely thrilled. In his mind, Dad just accidentally did him a massive favor, bringing the recruiter. His blank slate son would totally flop, while Zhao would shine brightly on the absolute biggest stage possible. He quickly grabbed his phone, texting Zhao Yu, perform perfectly. Watch closely now. The recruiter is watching. I finally rolled up to the exam in a black military limo. Yi Hong Yu opened my door. I stepped out, yawning. People instantly started whispering, that is Lin's son. The famous blank slate. 1. She pointed me to the combat exam zone, wishing luck. I headed for the completely empty VIP line. Awesome. The male guard asked for my pass. Reading my name, both he and his female co-worker perked up. She immediately started gushing about how I looked way more handsome than my photo. Then they both used inspection on me. The guy literally cursed out loud. 17. Apparently level 15 was huge before, and Zhao, at 16, already shocked them today. I was a whole level higher than that guy. They figured this was just rich family power, brute forcing a blank slate to the top using insane money, which honestly was not entirely wrong. He directed me through standard security, just a blue beam checking for illegal items and making sure your gear is not over bronze rank. The exact second that blue light touched me, my earth shield totally freaked out. A giant spherical barrier popped up around me, blocking absolutely everything. Both guards just stared. It was just a routine scanner. I stood inside my bubble, face palming, feeling super embarrassed. Sorry about that, I laughed, dismissing it. Been training super hard lately. My nerves and reflexes are just jumping all over the place. I mentally scolded the earth shield. Can you please not panic over every single thing? I am going to pass out from embarrassment before monsters get me. It whimpered about protecting me. I just surrendered. I cleared security, walking into this massive outdoor plaza, totally packed with big groups of candidates. You know what happens next, right? Xiao Yu strutted over with his crew. The crowd treated him like absolute royalty. Level 17? Pretty high, he smirked. I just turned around. Oh, hey, Xiao Yu. What now? He said nobody inside would protect me. No family, soldiers, zero safety net. He actually suggested I should just drop out right now. A blank slate mage belongs elsewhere anyway. I kept my face totally flat. Thanks for worrying, but I would watch your own back. If I flop, whatever. I am a blank slate. But you are the S-rank genius. If you score bad, what happens to your dad's reputation? His fake little smirk totally froze. He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. That logic was completely bulletproof. I just walked away, hands tucked in my pockets, heading for a quiet little corner. His lackeys rushed in, calling me an empty shell with fake inflated levels. They claimed he would rule Tun Long Academy while I failed. Then Zhao dropped what he actually thought was a bombshell. He loudly claimed the Dragon Sequence recruiter was here today specifically for him. His fan club started falling over themselves, praising him, begging for favors when he makes it big. He had zero clue. Mom forced Dad to drag that recruiter over here. Everything Zhao Yu was banking on was about to completely go up in smoke. My fireball was absolutely fuming about his attitude. It wanted to roast him for disrespecting us. I simply told it to wait. We would get a chance to fight later. Earthshield suggested skipping player battles. The fireball literally screamed at it for acting cowardly. I had to stop their fight again. The chief examiner stepped onto a high platform. Jiang Tai-jun, vice commander of city defense, literally nicknamed the Iron Wall Mad Lion. So what do we take from his harsh speech? This is a battlefield, not a playground. Come along with me here. Stage 1 begins with massive black trial towers rising 30 floors into the very sky. Each floor spawns different beasts. Clear one, earn 100 points. Rankings count total points first, then speed for tiebreakers. Out of tens of thousands of hopefuls, only the top 200 advance to Stage 2. Stage 2 throws those top 200 into Mist Wasteland. A high-level wind mage creates a shrinking storm circle from the outside. Touch it, and you are eliminated. Defeating regular monsters gives 10 points, elites give 20. But the absolute fastest way to score? Defeat other candidates and steal their accumulated points. The entire crowd gasped at that. You could battle monsters all day, but one loss at the end means giving absolutely everything to your opponent. He promised no one would actually be hurt. Every candidate gets a soul protection buff. If you take critical damage, the barrier activates, saving you but eliminating you from the exam. I listened to this without reacting. Defeat some monsters. Maybe battle a few rivals. Nothing complicated. I grabbed a bag of fire element snacks and joined my tower line. Up in the VIP monitoring room, my parents and Zhao Lei watched closely on giant screens. Dad enlarged my tower feed to fill the entire display. Now watch closely, because instead of stressing, I was literally just sitting cross-legged on the ground eating snacks, totally relaxed. The elite dragon sequence recruiter, Su Chong, stared at the screen and said, "Your son is incredibly relaxed." Dad's face flushed slightly red. That is called having an unshakable mindset. Steady as a mountain even when the sky falls. Su Chong laughed. I have not seen a kid this fascinating in a while. Zhao Lei instantly pulled up his own son's feed beside mine. On Zhao Yu's screen, he stood rigidly, gripping his staff. Intense glare, sharp eyes, totally prepped for combat. The contrast between us was hilarious. Zhao Lei proudly pointed out his son's perfect attitude. A lion uses absolute full strength, even when hunting a tiny rabbit. He threw shade at people treating the exam like an amusement park. Dad fired right back, calling Zhao totally ridiculous for being so serious fighting weak monsters. My son's style is called effortless mastery. You would not understand. They bickered loudly. Su Chong stepped in diplomatically to calm them down, calling us both extremely impressive in different ways. Me, the chill genius, Zhao Yu, the strict honor student. But from the replay later, I noticed Su Chong's eyes kept drifting right back to my screen. Apparently, in all his years recruiting for the country's elite program, he had never seen anyone this utterly carefree before a major exam. He genuinely wondered whether it was pure cluelessness or absolute brilliance. The trial tower's first floor was a massive metal hall, roughly 1,000 square meters. A voice announced monsters would arrive through a teleportation circle in 60 seconds. Basic crates with health and mana potions were available on the right side. The fireball bounced around like an absolute maniac, cackling and turning the place into a hellscape. I told it to stop acting like a villain. The earth shield quietly suggested it should be much more calm and dignified like itself. The fireball snapped back, calm like you? Just so you can drag us underground again? The earth shield puffed up, insisting that was totally an accident. The countdown hit 0. 5 green goblins with rusty iron clubs stumbled out. Level 5. You and I both know that for someone at level 17, this is basically just swatting FLIs. Go ahead, little fireball. Finish them off. The fireball charged up with a terrifying laugh. Finally, crumbled to ash in my epic flames. Suddenly, a massive earth wall violently erupted from the ground right in front of me. It completely blocked the fireball's path. My own attack slammed into my own wall and exploded harmlessly. The 5 goblins just stood there, completely confused. What was that human doing? Was this some kind of strategy? Behind the wall, my eye was twitching violently. The fireball completely lost its mind. Are you insane? I just delivered my epic crumble to ash speech, and you block me? Do you even realize how incredibly humiliating that is? The earth shield squeaked from behind its corner of the skill panel. I was just worried those monsters might hurt Master. Hurt him? Those level 5 scrubs? Are you questioning my unbelievable power? Safety first. And look, my wall blocked even your fireball. So that means I am incredibly strong, right? I will end you. I slapped my own forehead. My blood pressure was violently spiking. This is broadcasting to the entire city. Can you two please not humiliate me on live television? I took a deep breath and talked the earth shield through it. Its heart was in the right place, but level 5 goblins were absolutely not a threat. And if it absolutely had to use Earthflow Wall, at least wait until after the fireball actually launched forward. Coordination, teamwork, basic stuff, guys. The earth shield hung its head in shame. The fireball strutted around gloating until I told it to finish the goblins. So where does this leave us? I dissolved the wall back into the ground. The goblins finally built up enough courage to rush at me, screaming and swinging their clubs. One single fireball. It split into 15. You and I are witnessing absolute overkill. 15 tracking shots for just 5 targets. The area became an instant blazing inferno. All 5 simply vanished before taking another single step. Meanwhile, up in the VIP monitoring room, things were getting incredibly interesting. Zhao Lei proudly slapped his knee, boasting loudly to the recruiter that his own son had also mastered the multi-burst fireball, splitting it into 5 completely perfect copies. He proudly declared this the absolute peak of talent this year. But Su Chong was not watching that screen. He simply said, "Shut up." Then he ordered the text to rewind my footage 10 seconds, playing it back at 1/10 speed. Zhao Lei fell totally quiet, visibly confused. He was so busy watching his own kid that he missed my epic moment. During the slow motion replay, absolutely everyone in that room watched my fireball shake in midair, then massively split apart. 1, 2, 5, 10, 15. Zhao Lei leaped straight off the sofa. 15? That is entirely impossible. I completely destroyed that first wave without even breaking a sweat. 15 huge fireballs for 5 tiny goblins. But my magic really wanted to make a statement. Little did I know about the absolute chaos unfolding upstairs inside the VIP monitoring room. Apparently, Zhao Lei had just finished loudly bragging about how his kid splitting 5 fireballs was the absolute highest talent level for this entire exam. Then Su Chong, the elite dragon sequence recruiter, told everyone to be quiet and demanded a slow-motion replay of my incredible battle footage. Now pay attention, because when they saw it split into 15, Zhao Lei literally jumped straight off his sofa. He instantly accused my dad of foul play. He claimed my father must have sneaked me a skill scroll or some crazy cheat item. He demanded the security guards who checked me be brought in immediately for a strict interrogation. Those two poor entrance guards were dragged straight into the VIP room, looking absolutely terrified. Zhao Lei questioned them like a strict military tribunal. Were they secretly bribed or threatened? Covering for the Lin family? They swore on their very lives the inspection was completely clean. No hidden scrolls, no illegal gear, 0 violations. Then one guard suddenly remembered something. Actually, there was one incident. When our security scanner activated, Linmo instantly summoned an earth shield, blocking the light before it even touched him. It triggered way faster than our machine. He quickly dismissed it after we explained the situation. Zhao Lei tried spinning this against me, loudly arguing that a newly awakened student could never react faster than advanced tech. But the guard just calmly pulled up the security footage on his tablet. Zhao Lei snatched the tablet, watched it, and his face completely froze. No cheating, no hidden scrolls, 0 illegal gear, just pure undeniable reflex. My earth shield, activating purely on instinct, faster than their high-tech sensors. The footage proved everything. The entire room went dead quiet. Su Chong waved the guards away and turned to my dad, looking genuinely impressed. He pointed out my incredible elite performance in both fire and earth magic systems. All done entirely without a magical staff. Bare-handed casting. Sure, any mage can cast staffless, but it massively drops your power, since staves channel spiritual energy and perfectly guide the magical elements. Only mages holding extreme confidence in their pure control ever go staffless. Doing that while splitting 15 massive fireballs was just next level. My dad immediately put on his best fake humble voice. Oh, please do not praise him too much. The kid is just super lazy. Could not even be bothered bringing a staff to his biggest exam. Honestly, I have to admit, Zhao Lei's kid is way more hardworking than mine. Such a real shame. We all felt that, right? Zhao Lei knew exactly what my dad meant. Your son needs a fancy staff just to manage 5 fireballs, while mine is too lazy to carry one, and effortlessly casts 15 bare-handed. Zhao Lei angrily growled that this was merely the first floor, with 29 more to clear. He really wanted to see how long my luck would last. Suddenly, someone on the monitoring team spotted something super weird on my screen. I had cleared the second wave, but instead of waiting for more monsters, I was doing something entirely different. Is he seriously building a wall? After clearing the second wave, I had a brilliant idea. Why bother chasing monsters everywhere when I can trap them at their source? I ordered my earth shield to build 6 massive walls around their main spawn circle. 6 perfect, 5-meter tall earth walls, perfectly forming a massive hexagonal cage. A massive pit with 0 escape. My earth shield was absolutely thrilled. Finally, a cool job. It could actually feel good about construction work. Instead of panicking, I praised it and explained the concept. This is not just safety. It is all about teamwork. You trap them, Big Brother blows them up. That is true coordination. It glowed with happiness. The fireball naturally stayed completely unimpressed. It called the whole setup a giant pig pen, complaining that real true warriors fight face to face. I quickly explained my pure logic. Without this, you waste time aiming at scattered targets. Now, they are all bunched together in just one spot. You and I know this is genius. Just dump fire into the hole. Efficient. Smart. The fireball grudgingly accepted. Let's dive right into this wild ride. The countdown hit 0, ready for some explosions. 10 goblin warriors materialized inside the cage. Bigger, meaner, swinging spiked clubs around. They stepped out of that portal craving a fight. But then they looked around. Walls everywhere. 0 exits. No enemy in sight at all. Just a deep pit with an open sky. I can only imagine how confused they were. Probably spent their whole lives trapped in a dungeon, dreaming about freedom and epic payback. Finally summoned to a battlefield, and it was just another cell. Then the sky turned totally red. 15 massive fireballs rained straight down into the pit. The blasts were completely trapped by the walls, with nowhere for energy to escape. Shock waves bounced and multiplied inside that tight space. Every molecule of air ignited. 3 seconds. All 10 vanished. The broadcast announced my clear time. 3 seconds for floor 2. The fireball licked its lips, pretty disappointed it ended so fast. The earth shield puffed up proudly, telling the fireball they made an awesome team. I am holding the bowl while you are eating the rice. We definitely need each other. I twitched. That is literally the dumbest metaphor I have ever heard. But then it added quietly. Fine, you are slightly useful. I lay down on the floor, hands behind my head, staring upward. This was going to be the exact same pattern for all 30 floors. Monsters spawn. Fireballs drop. Everything gets wiped off the map. Repeat. This was not an exam. This was an extermination line. Up in the viewing room, everyone was staring at the screen in complete silence, watching me relax right next to a smoking hexagonal pit of total destruction. I had no clue what was happening upstairs, but apparently my little hexagonal doom pit was making quite the massive impression. Su Chong, the dragon sequence recruiter, had never seen anything like this in all his years. He had watched students fight through trial towers using every strategy. Kiting, burst damage, summon tanks. Now pay attention here. Nobody had ever walled off a spawn point and filled it with literal explosives. He kept replaying the footage in slow motion. What really shocked him was not just walls or firepower. It was the fact that I never looked inside the pit. Every fireball found its target through the walls without line of sight. He called it absolute perception, claiming he had never encountered it before. Dad was trying extremely hard not to grin. Mom jumped in with her classic move. The humble brag. Oh, he is not a genius, just incredibly lazy. Chasing monsters was way too exhausting, so he invented this shortcut to save energy. Dad added that I had been exactly like this since birth. If I could lie down, I would never sit. Zhao Lei was losing his mind, finally realizing the abyssal dungeon truth. It had absolutely nothing to do with Jane Hua. I was the one carrying that entire run. He wasted 3 million buying off the wrong person. Su Chong checked the data. My floor. Too clear. Time? 3 seconds. He asked about the all-time trial tower record. Dad said it was 27 floors in 20 minutes, set 5 years ago. Su Chong murmured that at my pace, I would not just break the record, I would shatter every single speed record ever made. Zhao Lei cut in, insisting the last 5 floors had level 25 monsters, including flying ones. My dirt walls cannot handle that, he said. Dad just smiled. Let us watch. Meanwhile, somewhere else in the tower, Zhao Yu just finished his own second floor, panting, leaning on his staff, and chugging a mana potion. You and I both saw this coming, right? 10 goblins forced him to dodge, kite, and time every fireball carefully. His clear time was 1 minute 47 seconds. Smiling proudly at the security camera, he felt certain this was a highly dominant performance. Most A-tier candidates need 3 to 5 minutes. Even among S-tier talent, finishing under 2 minutes was exceptional. He truly figured he was crushing the entire competition, looking at the camera and basically giving a victory speech. Dad, this is the power of an S-tier flame mage. The city championship is mine. He had absolutely no idea that in the exact same building, everyone in the viewing room was watching his triumphant pose on the big screen. Right next to my 3-second clear, Dad asked innocently what his son was mumbling about over there. Zhao's face went entirely dark. He knew his son way too well. That confident smirk, chin-up angle. Zhao actually thought he was number 1 in the entire world. Normally, Zhao Lei would normally be super proud, but sitting next to a replay of my 3-second annihilation, watching his son celebrate a slow clear like he conquered the universe, he wanted to crawl through the screen and slap some awareness into his boy. The physical embarrassment was real. The beatdown continued, floor after floor, same pattern. Monsters teleport into my hexagonal cage. Fireballs rain down. Everything vanishes. 3 seconds per floor. So what do we take from this? Skeletons? Panthers? Or ORCs? It just did not matter. Alright, stick with me. Nothing survived climbing out of my pit. Since Fireball and Earth Shield totally found their perfect groove. Earth Shield hyped up its big brother's insane power. Fireball played it super cool, casually tossing backhanded compliments about those walls being barely acceptable. They almost got along perfectly. By floor 199, I hit level 18. Only 2 levels until I learned Lightning Strike. Fireball was already busy planning out their new hierarchy. Earth Shield handles defense. The future lightning skill runs chores. And Fireball just gets to look super cool. Earth Shield was so hyped to finally become a big brother. Then the system announced floor 20, level 22 beasts, including flying ones. Huge problem. My defensive cage had zero roof. Flying beasts could easily soar straight over the tall walls. Earth Shield instantly panicked, suggesting we dive deep underground. My stomach flipped, vividly remembering our last terrible attempt. Absolutely not. Only in a total emergency. Your big brother handles flyers perfectly fine. Instantly, 10 spooky gargoyles spawn. 9 basic ones, plus 1 glowing red elite beast. They immediately took off, flapping heavily, to clear those tall walls. Fireball basically scoffed. My airspace is a strict no-fly zone. 15 fiery bursts split, tracking every target with massive explosions. 9 basic gargoyles vaporized instantly, but the elite survived. 22 levels. High rank, incredibly tough high. It emerged completely charred, but still kicking. A second blast hit hard. Still not defeated, clinging to a tiny health sliver. Now watch this tension. Both multi-burst and regular fireball hit cooldown simultaneously. The elite gargoyle immediately seized its ultimate chance. It burst completely out of the cage on broken wings, diving straight down at me. Red eyes locked. Earthshield shrieked in pure panic. It literally cried out, "Big brother, you let one slip past." A solid wall shot up just before those sharp claws could reach me. It slammed face first into solid rock, totally failing to break through. Amazing reflexes, my little Earth. I totally knew I could count on you. I quickly learned that generously praising Earthshield just makes it work even harder. Feeling deeply valued made its protective instinct grow even stronger. Basic skill management, always reward perfectly good behavior. Earthshield practically wept with pure joy. As long as I'm here, absolutely nothing touches Master. That gargoyle recovered, attempting to soar over the wall for a nasty aerial strike. I looked up, locking eyes. Guess I really have to handle this guy myself. I casually raised my hand into a finger gun, pointing straight at its chest. Next lifetime, seriously avoid messing with the guy holding cheats. The explosive spiral dragon shot charged at my fingertip. Deep red, highly compressed, wildly spinning. One word, bang. A massive, spiraling fire beam punched completely through that gargoyle. Charred stone fragments scattered absolutely everywhere. Floor 20 fully cleared. 9 seconds. I dramatically blew imaginary smoke off my fingertip. Not bad. Some excitement, but totally nothing we couldn't handle. After that intensely close call with the elite gargoyle, my two crazy skills started bickering again. Earthshield was utterly furious at Fireball for letting one escape. It called the mistake dereliction of duty and criminal negligence. You and I both know these skills are wild. Fireball got defensive about the beast's toughness, so I broke them up to rethink our actual problem. We seriously lack sustained area damage. Multi-burst Fireball was absolutely devastating, but packed a long cooldown without my special gear. One single burst wasn't enough for tough enemies, and during that cooldown gap, flying beasts could easily escape the cage. My remaining skills were single target only. Then I quickly remembered one of the powerful skill books the Fireball had eaten. Blazing Fire Pillar. This mid-tier skill stores fire energy deeply underground, erupting upward as a massively high-pressure column of flame. Perfect area denial inside the cage. Hey, Fireball, remember that Fire Pillar book you ate? It held absolutely zero memory, except that the pages tasted incredibly delicious. Fine, forget the stupid book then. Basically, just push fire energy deep into the ground, blasting it upward like a huge pillar. Try it. The Fireball nervously attempted it. A completely pathetic flame sputtered up from the floor, maybe 30 centimeters tall, sounding like a tiny fart. Epic fail. The frustrated Fireball dramatically threw up its hands. See? Impossible. Totally not my fault. Then the little Earthshield timidly spoke up. Excuse me, big brother. This ground looks completely flat, but to me, it's packed with microscopic pores and tiny channels. What if you pushed fire energy through those gaps, instead of forcing it straight down? That was absolutely it. The missing piece. Little Earth, can you share that exact perception with our Fireball? You're both my abilities. You should be deeply connected at the source. Earthshield nervously nodded, slowly reaching its energy out to the Fireball. Fireball reluctantly agreed to experience the world through the coward's eyes. Suddenly, a very strange wave pulls directly through my skill panel. Suddenly, Fireball saw the rocky ground exactly like Earthshield did, completely packed with microscopic magical tunnels and winding pathways. What? The floor looks like this? It's full of holes. The exciting notification arrived. The Fireball had magically entered an enlightenment state. Up in the luxury VIP room, Su Chong noticed my weird actions and guessed perfectly correctly. Trust me, we're onto something big. I was learning. Blazing fire pillar. Zhao Lei laughed loudly, calling it totally ridiculous. Stick with me here. After 3 days of awakening, he promised he would eat the monitor screen if I actually pulled off a mid-tier skill. Dad did not hesitate. He called for his officer. Get me a wrench, a screwdriver, and a cutting tool. Also, grab a bucket of lubricating oil from the cafeteria and 2 bottles of strong vinegar. Commander Zhao might need help washing that screen down. Mom turned away, her shoulders shaking with silent laughter. Sun Chong tried calming everyone down, calling them grown children. Then, Zhao Lei doubled down on the madness. He demanded a matching bet. If I completely failed, Dad had to eat the screen instead. Dad agreed without blinking. If my boy fails, I will eat it myself. Deal. Deal. They were practically butting heads. Su Chong gave up on mediating, sinking back into the sofa while muttering about how he was way too old for this nonsense. Then he stared back at my screen. Beneath the floor around me, a faint red glow was spreading and pulsing right through the solid ground. He murmured quietly to himself, "Is Zhao Lei actually going to have to eat that screen?" Floor 21. The broadcast warned, this level featured high mobility flying monsters. A 60-second countdown started. I sat there staring, just waiting. The Fireball was in its enlightenment mode, working with the Earth shields to share the pure perception of the underground structure. It was learning how to force compressed fire energy through the tiny channels and pores inside the Earth's surface. Now watch closely. The ground below me started glowing red, like stirring magma. Then it finally happened. New skill fully unlocked. Mid-tier blazing fire pillar. It forms glowing red circles on the ground, and after a brief delay, massive high-pressure flame columns completely erupt right from those exact spots. Level 1 produces 5 simultaneous pillars, adding 1 extra pillar per skill level. A strict 15-second cooldown. The Fireball was absolutely ecstatic. For the first time ever, it looked at Earth Shield without any contempt. Fine, you were actually somewhat useful today. The Earth Shield blushed, completely deflecting the praise directly to me. The Fireball admitted I was a decent human, promising shared credit when this eventually turns into a truly legendary forbidden spell for us all. I cut the mutual admiration session short. We had real work to do while Earthshield built a hexagonal cage around the new spawn point. I opened my inventory. I still had leftover skill books from last night. Exam rules only banned used skill scrolls, not normal skill books. I fed literally every remaining book directly into my active skills. Hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of knowledge devoured in seconds. Every single fire and earth skill maxed to level 18, matching my current level, including that brand new blazing fire pillar. At level 18, the pillar count hit 22 simultaneous columns, 5 base plus 17 from leveling, 22 massive fire pillars inside a sealed cage with fireball rain from above. The countdown hit 0. 20 level, 22 monsters crammed inside the cage. Half were fierce bats, flyers that would usually cause some serious problems. They spawned and instantly panicked. Thick walls everywhere, 0 exits. You see this, right? The entire cage floor sparked with red circles. Not one single safe spot as 15 fireballs crashed down from above. 22 massive fire pillars erupted upwards at once. Fire from the sky and fire from the ground. The cage literally transformed into a roasting hot furnace. The walls glowed entirely red hot. Those monsters never had time to react. 3 seconds, floor completely cleared. The fireball sighed in pure bliss. Meanwhile, the Earth Shield nervously noticed that even its own walls were starting to crack from the extreme heat. The fireball simply laughed, promising. This was nothing compared to what was coming next. I just stretched, opened a brand new bag of snacks, and casually glanced at the corner security camera. I had no idea what was happening on the other side of that lens. But apparently someone up in the elite viewing room had bet they would eat a monitor screen if I successfully learned that skill. And now, tools to rip it apart were getting prepped. I kept clearing tower floors while apparently causing complete chaos inside the elite viewing room up above. Later on, I heard Zhao Lei watch me unleash 22 fire pillars, a mid-tier skill I supposedly learned seconds ago that was already completely maxed out to my exact level. His face went incredibly pale. Dad turned to him and flashed the most irritating smile imaginable. So, about that screen, steamed or deep-fried? Su Chong piled on, firmly reminding Zhao Lei that military men never, ever go back on their word. Dad even offered him a way out. Just admit my boy is far better than Linmo, and we'll just call it entirely even. That was much worse than eating the screen. Zhao Lei stood up, jaw totally clenched. I keep my word. He ordered his officer to rip the monitor down. Then he blasted it into fine powder with the fire attack, and actually started eating the ashes. As a high-level fire warrior, his body handled it fine, physically, but the sheer public humiliation was absolutely brutal. Dad gave him a thumbs up, fully respecting the commitment. Sun Chong was much more fascinated by the technical side of my new skill. What do we make of this? Over 20 fire pillars, instantly learned, with each dealing noticeably far more damage than usual. Stick with me here. That was pure, unexplainable magic. Dad just claimed I spent hours staring into the warm fireplace as a totally clueless kid. Back then, he thought I was just being super lazy. But now, he said, I must have been meditating on the true essence of fire. Zhao Lei practically choked on his drink. 20 fire pillars from staring at a fireplace? Might as well stare at a light bulb to learn a forbidden light spell. Su Chong stopped their arguing right there. The results were obvious. Whatever my method was, this learning speed and elemental mastery were completely extraordinary. Joining the Dragon Sequence class meant my future was limitless. Outside the tower, pure chaos. The massive scoreboard floating above the huge plaza displayed the overall rankings. At this point, tens of thousands of examinees were eliminated. The only ones left were me and Zhao Yu. The giant board read first place, Lin Mo, floor 23. Second place, Zhao Yu, floor 13. 10 floors apart. The crowd was totally losing their minds. Examinees eliminated on floor 3 just stared up in absolute disbelief. Some questioned if a blank slate mage could do this. Others argued no one would dare cheat with the review committee watching. The happiest folks were those laughing at Zhao Yu's followers. They had called him the ultimate talent ceiling just hours ago. Ceiling? He is 10 floors behind. That is not seeing taillights. Not even tire tracks. Watch closely. You and I are going to love his face. Checking that huge scoreboard. Over by our car, Yi Hongyu leaned against the hood with her arms crossed, looking incredibly proud. Shiru crouched with a telescope, grinning at the screen. That is our young master. Zhao Lei's kid cannot see his dust. Yi Hongyu smiled. People only see his laziness. They completely miss the calmness of absolute strength. Shiru glanced at the media crews pointing cameras at the tower. Boss, tomorrow's huge national headlines are going to be all about our young master. Yi Hongyu looked up at the massive tower. Of course, this tiny city was never big enough for him. Back outside, Zhao Yu finally stumbled out. Messy hair, sweating, panting hard. Floor 13 was his final result. He was so proud. Barely anyone ever beat floor 10 before. 13 was absolute legendary territory. He straightened up, ready for wild cheers. Then his lackey ran over, looking like a total ghost. He asked what was wrong. They panicked. One quietly suggested he check the massive scoreboard behind him. He turned around, smiling. You and I knew this was coming. First place, Lin Mo, floor 23. 10 floors behind. His brain short-circuited. He stuttered wildly about system bugs and cheating. A timid follower pointed out everyone was watching. I basically one-shot every single floor in there. Zhao screamed to shut up. Deep down, he knew cheating was just completely impossible. The consequences were way too severe. Your entire family falls. Plus, my family had zero motive. We were already crazy rich. Someone asked if I might clear 30 floors. The record was 27. Nobody ever beat this tower. Zhao Yu laughed coldly. 30 floors? If that blank slate clears it, I will swallow those front stone lions. Whole, no chewing. His followers nervously cheered. Meanwhile, I was inside floor 29. Harsh desert terrain, sand everywhere, wind slicing my face. After floor 26, environments completely changed. No more basic metal halls. I just finished destroying dozens of highly annoying armored burrowing, poison scorpions. For the very first time in this entire exam, I actually had to stand up and physically move around. I even used earth dive once, dodging an underground ambush. My walls took visible damage. Getting harder, I muttered, brushing sand off my pants. The fireball was absolutely thrilled. It loved the challenge, claiming only this level of combat could forge true forbidden spells. Meanwhile, the earth shield was completely traumatized and begging to just go home. It missed my warm bed. The fireball exploded at the earth shield for wanting to quit right at the doorstep of the final floor. They argued. I broke it up like usual. We are already here. One more floor. Besides, remember that combination skill we have not tested in real combat yet? The earth shield froze. Then its eyes lit up. The lava morphed into armor, obsidian plates and molten rock covering my entire body. A massive defense boost. Its attitude flipped instantly. You are right. With this heavy armor, what am I afraid of? Let's go. We must clear this. Anyone quitting is a coward. The fireball rolled its eyes. 5 seconds ago, you were crying to go home. The scene shifted. A massive circular arena instantly materialized around me. Towering stands everywhere. Heavy killing intent, like a gladiator pit. Trust me, you and I are ready. Stick with me. 4:30. The arena's final broadcast echoed. Congrats, candidate Lin Mo, on reaching the trial tower's ultimate floor. You and I need to watch this. Level 25 monsters, 50 enemies, 1 boss. Good luck.